After living as the pampered daughter of a wealthy family for 17 years, Huoyao was suddenly thrown out. It turned out her adoptive parents had discovered a hospital mix-up from years ago. She wasn't their real child. When Huoyao was kicked out of her home, he was the first one there. His name was Min Yu, and he was a secret rich kid. "What's the plan? I'm here for you." No comforting words, just his presence. When he heard she was going to find her biological parents, he drove her to the airport. Haoyao thought they'd never see each other again, given how far apart they lived. Never see each other again? Huh. As the plane flew, her mind raced with plans. A year prior, Huoyao had been transported into this body. Her biological family was from humble beginnings. Not only were they broke and powerless, but they also had 4 slacker sons. She planned to use the special skill from her past life, pharmaceutical mastery, to help them escape poverty. Just as she got off the plane, her phone rang with an unknown number. When she answered, a clear voice on the other end said her name. "Yao Yao, I'm waiting for you at the arrival gate. It's your big brother, Huo Yangxi." Hoya was a little surprised. This feeling of being constantly cared for was nice. She hurried to the exit only to find it mobbed by celebrity fans. But even in the crowd, she recognized her brother at a glance. Perhaps it was the bond of blood. Her brother wasn't just handsome. He was dressed in a high-end custom suit that gave him an extraordinary air. He looked nothing like a freeloader from a poor family. He, in turn, was shocked when he saw his sister. The photo he'd seen showed a country girl, but the young woman before him was a graceful, stunning beauty. The domineering CEO was, for a moment, at a loss for words. "Sorry, big brother. I got held up by fans at the airport." This was Lu Xia, the real daughter of the Lu family. Seeing how close her brother was to Huoyao, Lu Xia immediately snuggled into his arms to compete for attention. Her brother, oblivious to this manipulative act, simply made the introduction. "This is my biological sister, Yao Yao." Before he could introduce Lucia, camera flashes started going off in the crowd. Unsure what was happening, Huoyao quickly said, "Let's go." "It's not a good place to talk." Lucia is on a girl group reality show. Those are her fans. This brief interaction was enough for the scheming Lucia to realize this girl from the countryside was not going to be simple. The mother was so nervous she clung tightly to her husband's arm. Finally, a luxury car pulled up and the parents rushed forward to greet her. But their adoptive daughter, Lucia, jumped out of the car first, running up to hug the mother intimately. She was trying to assert her dominance, thinking, "So what if their real daughter is back? I'm still the one they're closest to." She pushed Lucia away and said coolly, "Thank you for going out of your way to pick up Yao Yao. It's getting late. I'll have your brother take you home. Yao Yao, come inside. Dinner is ready." Huoyao, on the other hand, was stunned. The stark difference in her mother's attitude was like a bolt from the blue for Lu Xia, who stood there, utterly bewildered. Didn't they say my real parents were poor? Wasn't my mission to help them get rich? Has my idea of poverty become this limited? When she saw a priceless calligraphy scroll hanging in the living room, she began to question reality itself. She could only comfort herself. It must be a high-quality fake. Even if the Huo family has some money, they could never afford a real masterpiece like this. Just then, her father asked, "Yao Yao, do you like calligraphy too?" Before he could finish, her mother cut him off. All right. Stop showing off your dusty old scrolls. I want to take Yao Yao to see her room." Now it was the father's turn to be bewildered. "Are you serious? You're calling an antique scroll worth hundreds of millions dusty old junk?" Her mother led Huoyao to a room. "This used to be your 4th brother's room, but now that you're back, it's yours. I had it completely redecorated." She pushed the door open, and Huoyao froze again. "You've got to be kidding me. Is this the legendary Princess Pink room?" Her mother beamed with pride. "I hired a famous designer and paid a fortune for this." She then opened the wardrobe. "These are all new clothes for you. See if you like them. If not, I'll have them swap out the whole batch." Huoyao's jaw nearly hit the floor. "A whole batch? Do you buy clothes by the batch?" She said slowly. "Mom, tell me the truth. Do we own a mine or something?" Suddenly, her mother pulled her into a hug, tears streaming down her face. "My sweet daughter, did you just call me Mom?" "You finally called me Mom. I'm so touched." The next day, after her morning run, Huoyao came home to her mother rushing over. "You're back, sweetheart. Come sit and rest. By the way, Yao Yao, you got a package. I don't know what's in it, but it's pretty heavy. Your dad nearly threw his back out moving it inside." Huoyao knew it was her pharmacy equipment. She walked over and casually hoisted it onto her shoulder to take upstairs. Her parents watched, stunned, as she carried it away with ease. "Honey," her mother said, "looks like you need to take that health supplement our daughter gave you. The medicine she gave me for my migraines worked wonders," her father said, feeling a little defensive. "It's not that I'm weak. That box was seriously heavy." At dinner, her eldest brother came home. It was the first time Huoyao had seen him since he picked her up from the airport. She wondered if he had accepted her as his sister. He spoke first. "I hear you're starting at number 1 high school?" "Yes, I register tomorrow," Huoyao replied. "I'll take you then," he said immediately. "Coincidentally, Xiaxia is also at number 1, and I promised I'd take her on the first day. You're not familiar with the school, so with Xiaxia there, you won't—" She put down her chopsticks. "No thanks. I can go by myself." With that, she went upstairs. Her brother could tell she was upset. "Is she angry because I'm taking Xiaxia too? Has she been like this all week? You can't spoil her." The moment he finished, his mother slammed her hand on the table and yelled, "Yao Yao has a wonderful temper!" "You brat, you better not be prejudiced against her." Her brother was shocked by his mother's sudden outburst and quickly admitted he was wrong. He didn't want to mess with his mom. After leaving the house, he called Lucia. He had assumed his father must have pulled strings to get Huoyao into number 1 high school and wanted Lucia to look after her. Lucia's sweet voice came through the phone. "Don't worry, big brother. I'll take good care of Yao Yao." Then she added a jab. "Don't stress about it. As long as she got in through the proper channels, it doesn't matter who helped her." Her brother sighed in relief after the call. Then he opened his phone and searched, "How to get along with a rebellious teenage sister." When her father learned she had been accepted into number 1 high school, he pulled out a black card. "Here, daughter, take this and buy whatever you want. There's no limit. We might not be rich, but your father won't let you suffer at school." Huoyao was stunned into another reality check by how down-to-earth her real parents were. Is this really a poor family? Handing out black cards and telling me to spend freely? This is even more unbelievable than me traveling to this world. A few days later, when Huoyao went to register at her new school, she was stopped by a security guard at the gate. "Student, you need to swipe your card to enter." "I'm a new transfer student," Huoyao explained. "I don't have a student card yet. Can I use my acceptance letter?" The guard took the letter. "Wait here. I'll go to the administration office to verify this." But after half an hour, there was still no news. She asked another guard, "Do I just have to wait here forever? Can't you call the office?" "I'm new here," the other guard said. "I'm not sure how it works. You should probably just wait a little longer." Huoyao was speechless. As she waited anxiously, a white luxury car pulled up. The window rolled down, and it was Minyu. "Yao Yao, why aren't you going in?" he asked, telling her to get in the car. Huoyao was shocked to see him. "What a coincidence. What are you doing at number 1 high? And you can drive straight onto campus. You're not a teacher, are you?" Minyu smiled. "Do I look like one?" Huoyao stared at him with wide eyes. "No," she said slowly. "The school wouldn't dare hire a teacher as handsome as you. It would distract the students." After getting out of the car, Huoyao remembered to thank him. "This carefree girl isn't even a little bit curious about who I am, is she?" He went to the dean and said his class was full and they should place Huoyao elsewhere. Just like that, he rejected her. Because her own biological daughter, Lucia, was in the honors class, and because of her status, the teacher, Mr. Wei, believed her completely. The dean tried to reason with him, but Huoyao spoke up. "If this teacher doesn't want me, I'll go to another class. It doesn't matter where I study." Huoyao's arrogant attitude only confirmed Mr. Wei's belief that she was an undisciplined, underachieving student. The dean finally warned him, "Old Wei, you're the one who turned her down." "Don't you regret it?" The prideful Mr. Wei scoffed. "I'll never regret it." The dean, fuming, had no choice but to place Huoyao in Class 3. But the teacher of Class 3, Mrs. Chen, wondered why a top student with a perfect score would be rejected. Was there a problem with her? However, when he got a good look at the new transfer student, his attitude completely changed. "This student is gorgeous. I don't care anymore. As long as she doesn't cause trouble, I'll take her even if her grades are terrible." "No way! Is this transfer student for real? She's so beautiful, and her handwriting is so pretty." "Oh no, I think I'm in love, I've decided. She's my new goddess." Hearing the whispers, Mrs. Chen felt a surge of smug satisfaction. The news that Class 3 had a stunning new transfer student spread like wildfire. Everyone was saying that Lucia finally had some competition. Things were about to get interesting. The news quickly reached Lucia's best friend, Chang Yingying, who comforted her. "Don't worry, Xia. You're the official school belle. A transfer student with no background is no match for you." She feigned disappointment. "Yingying, you can't say things like that anymore. Even though Huo Yao is a country girl, she really is very pretty." Chang Yingying immediately perked up. "You know her? How do you know she's from the countryside?" The schemer pretended to be surprised. "Oh, I forgot to tell you. She's the girl my family adopted." This bombshell stunned Chang Yingying. "So she's the fake heiress who stole your identity." Lucia acted panicked. "Keep your voice down. Don't let this get out. After all, she's innocent in all this." The clueless Chang Yingying said, "Xia, you're too kind. She's the reason you had to live with a poor family for so many years. Huo Yao, just you wait until I find something on you. I'll make your life at this school a living nightmare." On her way home from school, Huo Yao's phone rang. As she was about to answer, she heard a voice. "It's me, look up." She looked up and saw Min Yu. She said a bit awkwardly, "What a coincidence. We meet again." Min Yu invited her to dinner, telling her, "Your grandmother asked me to look after you." "Grandma?" she asked anxiously. "Is she okay?" "Her spirits haven't been the same since you left," Min Yu said. "You should visit her when you have time." He then asked, "Did you sort out that issue with the security guard this morning?" "My homeroom teacher told me today that the guard had a sudden stomach ache." Huo Yu replied, knowing full well it was someone's petty trick. The more she talked, the angrier she got. Min Yu gently patted her head to soothe her. "Don't be so grumpy. It's not cute on a young girl." Huo Yao snapped, pushing his hand away. "Get lost!" she fumed. Min Yu just burst out laughing. She was just too cute when she was angry. Huo Yao had been called over by her grandmother. They hadn't seen each other in a while and missed each other dearly. As her grandmother cooked her favorite foods, Huo Yao chatted with her. "I've missed your cooking so much, I'm going to eat 2 extra bowls today." Huo Yao thought to herself, "Grandma's condition is worse than when I left. This must have something to do with the Liu family." Just then, the doorbell rang frantically. When she saw who it was, Huo Yao was surprised. It was her adoptive mother and her family. Seeing Huo Yao, the woman sneered, "What are you doing here?" In the living room, Lucia whined, "Grandma, Mom bought you a set of jade jewelry." But her grandmother's attention was on Huo Yao. Seeing her being ignored, she felt a pang of guilt. "If I had known they were coming, I wouldn't have asked Yao Yao over." Her adoptive mother pressed on. "Why don't you try it on and see if you like it?" "I'm an old woman," her grandmother said calmly. "I don't like wearing these things." She then smiled at Huo Yao. "Yao Yao, why don't you take a look? If you like it, you can take it home for your mother." Her adoptive mother shot up, screaming, "Mom, are you crazy? Do you have any idea how much this jade is worth?" Seeing her daughter's reaction, her grandmother said innocently, "Didn't you give it to me? It's my decision how I want to deal with it." Unable to argue with her own mother, she turned her anger on Huo Yao. "You little brat. This was your plan all along, wasn't it? Taking advantage of an old woman's kindness to swindle money out of her." She continued smugly, "If you want money, you can ask me directly. You don't have to pester an old woman." Huo Yao just found her pitiful. She seemed to be losing her mind more and more often. Seeing Huo Yao remain silent, the woman pressed on. "Name your price. How much to leave my mother alone?" 100,000? 200,000? Let's make it 300,000. That should be enough for your family to live on for a few years." At that, Huo Yao burst out laughing. Her adoptive mother was baffled. "What are you laughing at?" Huo Yao composed herself and said calmly, "Only 300,000? Listening to you go on and on, I thought you were going to offer me 30 million. She continued, "If I didn't even have 30 million, I'd be too embarrassed to say all that. It's just humiliating." The barrage of sarcasm and mockery nearly made her adoptive mother cough up blood. After that, she said her goodbyes to her grandmother and left. One day, on her way home, Huo Yao spotted 2 strange men at her doorstep. Black suits, black sunglasses, black leather shoes, and a black briefcase. They didn't look like good news. When she walked in, she found her mother looking through some documents. Seeing her daughter home unexpectedly, her mother looked nervous. She hastily gathered the papers and said guiltily, "Yao Yao, you're back so soon? Weren't you going to your grandma's? Grandma had visitors, so I came back, Huoyao replied thoughtfully. Her mother took the last document from her father's hand and finally relaxed. Oh, I see. You haven't eaten, have you? I'll go make you dinner. She then turned pointedly to her husband. Honey, take these things back to our room while I cook. Watching her father carry away the files, Huoyao thought, what's so important? They're definitely hiding something from me. Pretending to help her mom wash vegetables, she asked casually, Mom, we don't owe any money, do we? Her mother was taken aback. No, of course not. Why do you ask? Huoyao confessed, I just saw some men in black suits outside. They looked really aggressive, like professional debt collectors. Her mother secretly breathed a sigh of relief. My worries were right. Those guys from the company looked too intimidating. If she found out they were our accountants, she'd think we were involved in something illegal. She tried to act calm. They were probably here for one of the neighbors who took out a loan. A loan? Huoyao immediately understood. After a nerve-wracking time in the kitchen, her mother rushed to find her husband. Honey, it's over. Our daughter definitely thinks we're in debt. The next day, while Huoyao was chatting with a classmate, she received a notification from her mom, another 10,000 yuan transfer. Didn't she just give me 10,000 for living expenses yesterday? Just then, a message from her dad popped up. Daughter, this is your allowance. She had no idea this was all part of her mother's plan. From now on, I'll give Yao Yao 10,000 in allowance every day. That way she won't misunderstand us, right? And it will help us bond. It's a win-win. Her husband praised her. You're so right, dear. You're a genius. Her deskmate Meng Ying stood with her hands on her hips, indignant. As your deskmate, I know you better than anyone. You're a total bookworm who studies all day. How could you have gotten in through the back door? Seeing her friend so worked up on her behalf, Huoyao felt a warmth spread through her. Rumors die with the wise, she said calmly. But Meng Ying was even more anxious. Oh, stop being so detached. This is about your reputation. We have to do something to prove them wrong. Meng Ying's face lit up. I've got it. There's an international academic competition coming up. It goes from the city level to the provincial, then national. The top 3 get to compete internationally. I'm not expecting you to win, but just passing the city qualifiers would be enough to prove your skills. As Meng Ying chattered on, the unconcerned Huoyao let out a yawn. She had zero interest in competitions. She laid her head on her desk and fell asleep. Her worried friend was at a loss. What am I going to do with you, my lazy, precious friend? Her deskmate saw the notification and was floored. No way! 10,000 is just your allowance? And you get it every day? What kind of family do you come from? Don't believe the rumors. Stop telling me ghost stories. No wonder people are spreading rumors that you bought your way into this school. A little later, her homeroom teacher called her to the office. You just transferred here, so I normally wouldn't recommend you participate in this kind of competition. But since you've already signed up, I respect your choice. Just make sure you don't fall behind in your coursework. Huoyao was completely baffled. Thinking back to Meng Ying's behavior, she wondered, did she sign me up? Teacher, Huoyao asked, how much prize money is there for first place? The teacher was surprised. There's no prize money, but you get a chance to be directly admitted to Tsinghua University. Hearing there was no money involved, Huoyao lost all interest. After she left, the teacher became unsettled. Do I get the feeling she's only in this for the prize money? Then she thought, what am I thinking? I'm talking about university admission with a student who got in through the back door. Does she think you can pull strings in a national competition? I bet she won't even pass the qualifiers. Oh my God, our school is going to be a national embarrassment. All sorts of rumors swept through the school. Meng Ying was shocked. Yao Yao, didn't you say you weren't interested in the competition? Huoyao was confused. Didn't you sign me up? No, Meng Ying said. I wanted you to, but I wouldn't do it without your permission. Huoyao was speechless. After her morning run, Huoyao came home to find her brother staring intently at her. Big brother, she finally asked, is there something you want to say? He cleared his throat and said in a strange tone, I heard from Xiaxia that you entered the academic competition. Don't you know how stressful the last year of high school is? She cut him off. What did she say? He dodged the question. You're not like Xiaxia. She's competing for a guaranteed spot at Tsinghua University, but with your grades, there's no point in you participating. So you're saying I'm not qualified to compete? She said coldly. Her brother tried to backtrack. That's not what I meant. I just think people shouldn't aim too high. They should focus on what's realistic. Getting more worked up, he suddenly realized he might have been too harsh. Oh, well, let her be. It's just a competition. I'll hire a tutor for you, he said finally. A friend of mine works at the Education and Culture Association. Why is he so convinced my grades are bad enough to need tutoring? She replied angrily, Thanks, but I don't need it. He tried to explain, Do you have any idea how much it would help you to be tutored by someone from the association? Then he thought, She grew up in a small town. She probably has no idea what the association is. He turned to leave. Fine. Do whatever you want. You don't listen to anything I say anyway. Let's just pretend this conversation never happened. After he left, Huoyao sent a message to a mysterious contact. Is the Education and Culture Association a big deal? In a research institute in the capital, someone saw the message and wondered why this big shot was suddenly asking about the association. He immediately replied, The association is a talent incubator that recruits for major universities. He then added helpfully, Do you have a child in school? My senior is a director there. I can connect you. Huoyao was confused. Did he misunderstand? Does he think I'm a mom? Another message came through. There's a big black market auction in the capital in a few days. Weren't you looking for a rare 7-leaf lotus? You could try your luck. I can give you my invitation. But when he saw Huoyao's reply, No thanks, I have school, no time, his world came crashing down. What? A student? Am I hallucinating? Isn't this big shot supposed to be an old man? Fine, I'll give them what they want. But the exam wasn't even halfway over, and she'd already finished all the questions. With nothing else to do, she fell asleep. Mr. Wei, who had been watching, thought to himself, She's so full of herself, she probably couldn't answer a single question. Finally, amidst the sound of her snoring, the exam ended. As students left, they complained to each other, This year's questions were so hard, especially the big questions on the back. There was a back? The next day, Huoyao was called to the dean's office. The atmosphere was tense. The bald vice principal said, You must have heard the rumors about you. You mean about getting in through the back door? Huoyao asked nervously. This incident has had a negative impact on the school, the vice principal said sternly. We have no choice but to expel you. The dean, hearing this, anxiously interjected, Huoyao did not get in through the back door. Mr. Wei immediately shot back, Dean, I received a complaint from a parent. And didn't you yourself say she was a relative of the principal? The dean was stunned. When did I say that? She suddenly remembered when Huoyao first arrived and Mr. Wei refused to let her in the honors class. She had tried to tell Mr. Wei that the principal had gone to great lengths to recruit her, but she was cut off mid-sentence. He never realized it had caused such a misunderstanding. Just then, Huoyao's parents burst in. Her father was expressionless, but her mother rushed forward. What happened to my daughter? She looked Huoyao up and down, asking nervously, Yao Yao, are you hurt? I'm fine, Huoyao replied warmly. The principal was a bit bewildered by the scene. We've asked you here to take your child home. Our school will not tolerate students who get in through the back door. Her mother flared up. Sir, you look like a smart man, but you're talking nonsense. What do you mean, back door? Her father then spoke up firmly. Sir, you seem to be in a position of authority, so you should have evidence to back up your claims. Otherwise, I have no problem notifying the media that your school is slandering and bullying students. They were so angry because they imagined their vulnerable daughter facing these teachers alone, feeling scared and helpless. They just wanted to stand up for her, regardless of who they were dealing with. The dean quickly tried to smooth things over. It's a misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding. The principal did specially recruit Huoyao. But Mr. Wei wouldn't give up. Dean, are you still trying to make excuses for the principal? If Huoyao really got in with a perfect score, why did she give up and sleep through yesterday's exam? At this point, the dean felt like a herd of wild horses was stampeding through his mind. Is this guy stubborn or just an idiot? She said angrily. Old Wei, just because you saw her sleeping, you assume her grades are bad? The exam was so difficult that even our top student, Yi Lianfan, couldn't have finished it that quickly, Mr. Wei retorted confidently. Let alone a transfer student from a small town. Huoyao calmly interjected, The results should be available now. Stop arguing and let the facts speak for themselves. Right, I'll check right now, the dean said excitedly. When the results appeared on the screen, the entire room fell silent. A perfect score, blowing every other contestant out of the water. It was the first time the siblings had met in 17 years. I came in a hurry and didn't have time to prepare a gift. I don't know what you like, so take this and buy yourself something. If it's not enough, ask me for more. The daily limit is 200,000. I'll transfer more tomorrow. Huoya was left speechless by her brother's generosity. Is this a Huo family trait? Just throwing money at people? I never thought my eccentric fourth son would be so good to Yao Yao. She hurried them to the dinner table. When you're working out of town, you have to eat on time and take care of yourself, she reminded him. Ho Xing, with his back to her, quietly agreed. Seeing him avoid her gaze, she stopped herself from saying more. Ho Shang was a famous celebrity, a natural-born performer with incredible talent in music and dance. But an accident had caused nerve damage, leaving him unable to sing and dance on stage. After that, he fell into a state of self-pity, feeling like he was useless. He suffered in silence, and gradually he became afraid to go home and face his parents. Fortunately, his manager, Tong Yu, was always there to encourage him. Medicine is so advanced now, someone will be able to cure you. But Huo Shang knew his condition all too well and saw no hope. When he learned that the sister he hadn't seen in 17 years was back, he forced himself to go home, enduring the pain and trying his best to act like nothing was wrong. That night, his mother told his father, I have a strange feeling about our fourth son. Do you think he's hiding something from me? If you're worried, his father comforted her, you can call his manager tomorrow and ask. Okay, she replied. Otherwise, I just can't shake this feeling. Meanwhile, Huo Yao wasn't asleep either. She also sensed that something was off with her fourth brother. He was clearly no ordinary person, yet she had never heard anything about him. She went online to search for him, but there wasn't a single piece of news. That's not right. As a top-tier computer expert, she contacted a prophet in the online world. Please look someone up for me. She got a sudden call from Min Yu. Huo Yao, something's happened! Your grandmother had a heart attack. Luckily, we got her to the hospital in time and she's out of danger. The doctor lectured Huo Yao. Don't you youngsters know that an old woman with a heart condition can't handle stress? Why did you let her get upset? Watching her grandmother lying in the hospital bed, Huo Yao was filled with worry. Even though she wasn't her biological grandmother, she was the kindest person in the world to her. It wasn't until the next day that her adoptive family showed up. Seeing them, her grandmother said with difficulty, I'm fine now, you should all go home. She was worried they would start a fight with Huo Yao. Lucia said with false sincerity, Grandma, the nurses here can't take care of you as well as family can. Her grandmother became even more anxious. It's fine, I have Yao Yao. She stopped herself just in time, but her daughter had already heard. Are you hoping that little tramp Huo Yao will come again? Lucia used this as an opportunity to show off in front of her grandmother. Mom, that's enough. Since Grandma wants Huo Yao to take care of her, I'll just call her. Her mother, frustrated with her, snatched the phone. What are you calling her for? You canceled an important company event to come see your grandmother. Are you an idiot calling that girl now? Just then, Huo Yao walked in. She clapped as she walked, a smile on her face. Putting on a show so early in the morning? Is this a family drama? Seeing Huo Yao, her adoptive mother said with disgust, Why is it you again? Yao Yao was here with me all night, her grandmother said. Her adoptive mother was about to step forward, but Lucia held her back, not wanting a direct confrontation. Lucia secretly vowed, No matter what I do, Grandma never pays attention to me. It's all because of you. Huo Yao, I will make you pay. Her younger brother, seeing his sister being upstaged by this adoptive girl, taunted, Is this still my dumb, timid, and useless sister? You've gotten bold in just a few days. He then tried to provoke her. Coward, you don't even say hello when you see me? But Huo Yao completely ignored him. He became furious. I'm talking to you, are you deaf? He reached out to knock over the glass of water Huo Yao had just poured for her grandmother. Huo Yao grabbed his hand and twisted it behind his back, restraining him. If your mother didn't teach you how to behave, I don't mind teaching you myself. The chastened brother stormed off, and his mother chased after him. Lucia also said her goodbyes to her grandmother, leaving the old woman looking helpless. Why haven't you been taking the medicine I gave you? Huo Yao asked her grandmother. Xiaomen took it all, she said miserably. She won't let me take the medicine you give me. Ho Yao understood her grandmother's situation completely. She didn't know why her adoptive mother was so hostile toward her, and her grandmother was caught in the middle. "From now on, if you run out of medicine, just call me directly," she told her. She placed her grandmother's water glass on the table and asked casually, "Why was it Min Yu who brought you to the hospital last night?" "I think I must have accidentally called him when I was having the attack," her grandmother said, still shaken. She then turned to Huo Yao with a kind smile. "Mr. Min is a good person. He not only helped you with your studies and got you first place, but he also helped me." Ho Yao could tell Min Yu had been putting in a lot of effort with her grandmother. "When did he become my tutor?" At that moment, Min Yu, sitting in his car, sneezed. His driver quickly asked, "Sir, are you not feeling well?" Min Yu just shook his head. Meanwhile, her adoptive mother furiously confronted Huo Yao. "What exactly is this medicine you've been giving the old lady?" Ho Yao stood with her hands on her hips, calmly asking, "What? Is there a problem with my medicine?" "It's an unknown, unlabeled product. How dare you give it to a 70-year-old woman? Are you trying to kill her?" she raged. Seeing how unreasonable she was being, Huo Yao turned and said, "Do you have any idea how much my medicine is worth?" Her adoptive mother remembered what the doctor had told her. Has the old lady been treated at another hospital? Or has she been taking some kind of medication? To treat her angina to this extent is truly remarkable. But she said aloud, "Don't make me laugh. How much can a folk remedy from the countryside be worth?" She then lied. "I even showed it to the doctor, and he said this kind of remedy is a slow-acting poison." The old lady's health was stable, and she only ended up in the hospital because she took your medicine. She then threatened, "If anything happens to her, you'll be to blame." "He Xiaoman, I've put up with you for Grandma's sake. If there's a next time, don't blame me for being rude," she yelled. "We both know who's responsible for Grandma's attack." The woman was so frightened by Huo Yao's intensity that she collapsed into a chair. "I'm warning you one last time, don't touch the medicine I give her. If there's a next time, don't expect me to be polite." The guilty woman stood there, stunned. When did this girl get so intimidating? One day, the principal called her to his office and told her earnestly, "I have high hopes for you in this national competition." "Actually, I didn't sign up," Huo Yao explained. The principal gave her a sly smile. "I signed you up. I didn't think the competition would be too difficult for you. Our school's university acceptance rate has been declining these past 2 years. And I don't want our century-old reputation to be ruined on my watch." "I get it," Huo Yao said, finally understanding. It had all been arranged by the cunning old principal. She showed up for the qualifying exam, which made her parents incredibly nervous. "Sweetheart, don't be nervous. Just do your best. Did you check if you have your exam ticket and all your stationery?" In contrast, Huo Yao was completely relaxed. "Mom, Dad, it's just a small competition. You don't have to be so dramatic." Just then, Lucia arrived. Wherever she went, she was the center of attention, with paparazzi snapping photos. Her flashy entrance made Huo Yao's mother roll her eyes. "She's definitely not one of us. She just gets on my nerves." She then sent Huo Yao off with encouragement. "Go get him, daughter. Mom and Dad will be waiting for you right here." Suddenly, her mother remembered that her eldest son hadn't shown his face since he found out Yao Yao had gotten first place. "What's he so busy with?" Her father chuckled. "He probably feels too embarrassed after misunderstanding her grades." Unbeknownst to them, a figure who looked a lot like their eldest son was furtively watching from a distance as Huo Yao entered the exam hall. Half an hour later, one person's actions in the exam room were clearly distracting the other students. "This is infuriating. How can there be such a huge gap between people?" Yes, it was Huo Yao again. While others were still less than halfway through, she turned in her paper early. Next was the live interview portion. She happened to draw the 3 most difficult questions, but she stunned the proctors by solving them in just 2 minutes. Her thought process was on another level. She was a genius. "This is great. Our country might actually have a shot at winning the international competition this year." When Huo Yao walked out of the exam hall, her parents asked nervously, "Daughter, why are you out already?" "The questions were too easy, so I finished early," she said calmly. Her parents were a bit dumbfounded. "Well, you must be tired from the exam, daughter." "Let's go, we'll take you out for a big meal." When the siblings met for the first time in 17 years, all it took was Huo Yao calling him second brother for Huo Tinggui to completely lose his composure. That sounds so nice. That might be the most beautiful sound in the world. Come on, little sis, say it again. While Huoyao was still confused, the entranced second brother suddenly remembered, oh no, I came in such a hurry I didn't bring a gift for you. How about this? I'll send you a little something for now, and tomorrow I'll take you gift shopping. Huoyao was speechless. It's a family tradition, I guess. When in doubt, send money. On the way home, Lucia happened to see Huo Tingrui and called him. He answered curtly, What's up? Nothing much, Lucia said nervously. Just wanted to ask if you're back from your business trip. Not yet, he replied. Lots of cases at work. It might be a while. Lucia was incredibly disappointed. Oh, really? Well, let me know when you're back. I'll pick you up from the airport. Sure, he said flatly. I have to go. Talk later. Hanging up, Lucia was crushed. He's clearly back. Why did he lie to me? He got home wanting to chat with Huoyao, but he kept feeling dizzy. Huoyao noticed him constantly rubbing his head and asked with concern, Second brother, are you not feeling well? Huo Tingrui took off his glasses. It's nothing, just an occupational hazard. It happens when I overwork my brain. Huoyao went upstairs and came back with a bottle of pills. These are for boosting your energy and vitality. They're guaranteed to work. Her brother took the bottle, and just the smell of the herbs made him feel better. He eagerly took one. After taking the pill, he felt like a new man. His sudden change shocked Huoyao. Isn't he supposed to be a cool elite lawyer? Did I get the prescription wrong? Their mother couldn't take it anymore. Second son, what are you doing? She scolded. Seeing his parents, he immediately straightened up and explained, It's the medicine my little sister gave me. I feel so much better after taking it. It's amazing. Even so, you can't be wriggling around like that, his father said sternly. What will your sister think? Their mother rushed to Huoyao's side. Yao Yao, she said gently, your second brother has always been like this. He acts all proper and serious, but he's actually a real goofball. You'll get used to it. Little sis, her second brother asked suddenly, where did you get such amazing medicine? I have a friend who studies medicine, Huoyao said, a little awkwardly. She couldn't very well say she was a master pharmacist. Xia, do you know what your family's Huoyao scored on the city qualifiers this time? Lucia's best friend said with a worried look. Out of a perfect 210, she got 200. Lucia, who had been nonchalant, tensed up and snapped the lead in her pencil. 200? How is that possible? Something's not right. Meanwhile, her deskmate excitedly hugged Huoyao. Oh my god, Big Money, you're amazing! 200 points! Are you a genius? But Huoyao was a little annoyed. That can't be right. I'm sure I got all the questions correct. Her deskmate didn't know what to say. As Huoyao was wondering what went wrong, the school's PA system crackled to life. Huoyao, please report to the principal's office immediately. When she entered, the principal greeted her warmly. Come, let me introduce you. These two are members of the Education and Culture Association. This is the City Association's Secretary General, Tian Ye, and this is an honorary member of the main association, Zhao Lian. Hello, Huoyao said politely, though she was thinking, what does the association have to do with me? Isn't that for the big shots in education? After everyone was seated, the Secretary General said, Huoyao, the problem-solving methods you used on this exam were different from what's taught in school. Did you have a special tutor? Huoyao was stunned. No, she said slowly. Then she asked, does this have anything to do with the 10 points I lost? What a sharp young lady, he praised. Yes, your answers were completely correct, but your methods for the last two questions were beyond the curriculum, so points were deducted accordingly. Huoyao almost fainted when she heard the truth. Is there any justice in this world? I lose points for knowing too much? Honorary member Old Zhao comforted her. The international competition doesn't care about the curriculum. Do you have the confidence for that? The Secretary General was surprised. He couldn't believe this esteemed member was placing such high hopes on a newcomer. He was a biology professor at Tsinghua University and had a vast network of resources in the capital. Old Zhao, she asked excitedly, are there a lot of experts in the international competition? And will there be a lot of interesting questions? Seeing her innocent enthusiasm, Old Zhao smiled with satisfaction. Of course. Huoyao felt like she had finally found a place where she could truly shine. She felt like she could take on the world again. But the happiest person in the room was the principal. It looked like this year's international competition was going to be exciting. If she won a major award, the school's reputation would soar. One day, the hospital director came to the room to ask about her grandmother's medication, just as her adoptive mother arrived. Seeing the director, she cried out anxiously, "What's wrong? Did you find another problem with my mother's health?" The director smiled. "No, we were just asking what kind of medicine the old lady has been taking." Before he could finish, she rounded on Huoyao, screaming, "Did you give my mother your folk remedies again?" "Didn't I warn you? Are you determined to kill my mother?" The doctor sighed. "Ma'am, you've misunderstood. Ms. Ho's medicine is perfectly fine. In fact, if it weren't for her medicine, your mother would be in the intensive care unit." Her face flushed as she asked, "Director, are you sure you're not mistaken? My adoptive daughter grew up in the countryside. She doesn't know anything. How could she get her hands on any good medicine?" The director's face hardened. "Are you questioning the professional judgment of our doctors?" Realizing her mistake, she quickly smiled apologetically. "That's not what I meant." "Ma'am, don't let your prejudice blind you," the director said before walking away. Watching him leave in a huff, she turned her anger on Huoyao. "You're happy now, aren't you? Making me lose face in front of the director." "I told you before how valuable the medicine is," Huoyao said, exasperated. But her adoptive mother took this as a taunt and stormed out. Her grandmother had seen everything. She gripped Huoyao's hand and said guiltily, "My child, you've been wronged." "Grandma, I didn't take it to heart," Huoyao comforted her. "You don't need to feel bad." The more Huoyao said this, the worse her grandmother felt. "Yao Yao is too kind. She endures being misunderstood by Xiaomen just to spare my feelings. She's suffered too much. I think it's time for me to make a decision." Huoyao brought her fourth brother to visit their grandmother, which made her very happy. While Huoyao was in the restroom, she spoke to him earnestly. Yao Yao never had the love of her parents growing up. "From now on, I'm entrusting her to you." Her fourth brother felt something was off, but he said seriously, "Yao Yao loves you very much. Even though she's back with our family, you will always be the person she's closest to." When Huoyao returned, her grandmother turned away and said softly, "I'm getting old, and I don't have much energy." "Yao Yao, you and your brother should go home. I need to rest." Huoyao also felt her grandmother was acting strange today, but she just said, "Okay, Grandma, I'll come see you tomorrow." After they left, her grandmother lay on her side, tears silently streaming down her face. Just after school, Huoyao suddenly remembered what her grandmother had said the day before. "Yao Yao, knowing that your new family is good to you sets my mind at ease." A sense of unease washed over her. She rushed to the hospital as fast as she could, only to find her grandmother's bed empty. Her mind in turmoil, she quickly called her grandmother's phone, but it went straight to a cold, automated, switched-off message. She went to the nurse's station to ask, and was told the old lady had checked out early in the morning. Now she was even more panicked. She ran, calling the phone over and over, naively thinking she could still catch up. The phone remained unreachable. She couldn't stop blaming herself. "I should have noticed something was wrong with Grandma yesterday." Huoyao went to her grandmother's apartment, but the housekeeper told her the old lady hadn't returned from the hospital. Huoyao left, at a complete loss as to where her grandmother could have gone in this unfamiliar city. Meanwhile, her adoptive mother got a call from the housekeeper saying Huoyao had been to the apartment looking for her grandmother. Feeling something was wrong, she tried calling the old lady, only to find her phone was off. Finally, she contacted the hospital and learned she had been discharged. Lucia complained, "Why would Grandma leave the hospital without telling anyone? She's an old woman who doesn't know anything, and she didn't go back to the apartment. Where could she have gone without help?" This gave He Xiaoman an idea. "You're right. Someone must be behind this. It has to be Huoyao. She took your grandmother and is now playing the victim." Furious, she called Huoyao. Huoyao, having calmed down, decided to go back to the hospital to get more information. When a nurse saw her, she said hurriedly, "I'm so sorry, I got busy and forgot. The old lady asked me to give this to you." Huoyao took it and saw it was a letter. Her grandmother had gone back to her hometown. Huoyao couldn't help but think how sad her grandmother must have been when she wrote it. As she was feeling down, Minyu's voice appeared. "Now that's a rare expression to see on your face." "What are you doing here?" Huoyao asked, seeing him. He answered with a question of his own. "If I wasn't here, how would I get to see you looking so small, helpless, and pitiful?" She got up, walked right up to him, and leaned in close. It was the first time Min-yu had seen her stunning face up close, and he was momentarily speechless. Ho-yao pretended to be angry. I was worried your eyesight was bad, so I got closer to give you a better look. The sudden pressure made Min-yu surrender immediately. Okay, my mistake. You're the one who helped Grandma with her discharge, right? Ho-yao asked. She didn't want you to be caught in the middle between her and the Liu family and get hurt, Min-yu confessed. So she asked me to take her back to her hometown. Knowing her grandmother was safe and sound, Ho-yao felt relieved. Min-yu then offered to drive her home. It was only when they reached her doorstep that Ho-yao realized her phone had died long ago. She thought, I hope I don't get an earful for being home so late. But as soon as she walked in, her eldest brother, Huo Yangshi, yelled at her. Ho-yao, you've gone too far this time. His tone was harsh and his attitude was aggressive. Her father couldn't stand it. Calm down, he barked at his eldest son. He stood with his arms crossed and questioned Ho-yao. Where did you take Xiaxia's grandmother? How could you just take her away without telling anyone? I'm curious, she asked, puzzled. Who told you I took her? Was it Liu Xia? Her brother avoided her gaze and mumbled, she just made one phone call. Ho-yao's anger flared, and she said with disappointment, just one phone call and you're convinced it was me? Well, I'm telling you now I didn't take her. Who are you going to believe? Seeing Ho-yao's determined expression, her brother didn't know how to answer. Then why didn't you answer the Liu family's calls? Weren't you just making them suspicious? Ho-yao was exasperated. I was busy looking for her. I didn't have time to waste talking to them. She took out her phone and said calmly, See, it's dead. Her brother was at a loss. Her second brother stepped in. Big brother, her adoptive mother was never good to her. It's normal for her not to answer her calls. Her mother chimed in, Your second brother is right. If it were me, I wouldn't just not answer. I would have blocked her number by now. As the family rallied around Ho-yao, her eldest brother's phone rang. It was Lucia. Her sweet voice came through. Big brother, we found Grandma. She went back to her hometown on her own. I'm so sorry. My mom misunderstood Ho-yao. It was my fault for calling you right away. I hope I didn't cause any trouble. Before her brother could react, Ho-yao said with relief, Well, that clears things up. If there's nothing else, I'm going upstairs. Her brother wanted to say something, but he was too embarrassed to speak. Seeing this, her second brother said to him, We know you and Lucia have always been close, but let me remind you of one thing. Yao Yao is your real sister, the one you share blood with. He patted his brother's shoulder and walked away, disappointed. Their mother didn't forget to add her own jab. You're too prejudiced against Yao Yao. You need to trust your sister more. He sat alone on the sofa, his mind replaying the events. He's right. I didn't even try to find out the truth. I just assumed my little sister was guilty. In the end, it all comes down to a lack of trust. At a high-end Western restaurant, her impeccably dressed brother arrived late. I thought you weren't coming, she said excitedly. He didn't say anything. He just pulled out a chair, sat down, and looked at the menu. Sorry, a client at the office held me up, he said, his face blank. Big brother, she said sweetly. Are you still mad at me about Grandma? It's my fault for being so anxious. I was just worried about her. I went to apologize to Yao Yao today, but it seemed like she didn't want to see me. He thought, if it were my little sister, she probably wouldn't even bother to defend herself. He said casually, It's in the past. Yao Yao won't hold it against you. Let's just order. After dinner, he still politely drove her home. But he didn't leave right away. He leaned against the car, once again wrestling with his thoughts. I always thought a brother should protect his sister. I never imagined I would doubt Xiaxia. But is the Xiaxia of today still that innocent, kind-hearted girl? Lu Ha returned home satisfied. But as soon as she walked in, her brother mocked her. Well, look who's back from her date. Don't be ridiculous! That was the Huo family's big brother, Lucia said angrily. Her troublemaking brother continued. That's strange. When you first came back to this family, you looked down on the Huos. Why are you treating them like treasure now? Are you some kind of master of disguise? Lucia was so angry she couldn't speak, but she didn't dare do anything. Her parents doted on this little rascal. Her father calmly interjected, That's enough, both of you. It's good to be grateful, but you should still keep your distance from some people so you don't lower your own status. Lucia could only reluctantly agree. Huoyao got first place in the entire school, but it only made her language teacher furious. She pointed at her score and with a calm rage roared, "Huoyao, give me a perfect explanation. Why did you get a perfect score in every other subject but only a 92 in language? The max score is 150. This isn't just a weak subject, you're doing this just to spite me. Now I'm the talk of the school. You have two choices, either bring up your grade or you're coming to my house for tutoring." Huoyao sighed, embarrassed, but couldn't explain. She just found language class really hard. Just after leaving school after her scolding, she was cornered by Lu Ziming. He had brought 3 friends with him. Just then, Lucia and her best friend happened to be walking by. Seeing Huoyao surrounded by students from another school, her friend gloated, "She just transferred and she's already in trouble with outsiders." "It's what she deserves." Lucia recognized her brother among them, but she said coolly, "I don't know, Huoyao. Let's go, it's none of our business." As the 4 boys were acting tough, Huoyao, who was already in a bad mood, snapped. She grabbed Lu Ziming by the ear and began to lecture him. "You're so young and you're already causing trouble. If your parents won't teach you, I will." Lu Ziming yelped in pain and called for his friends to help. But Huoyao just clenched her fist and gave them a look that made all 3 of them back down instantly. She then laid into Lu Ziming. "So you like to skip class and corner other students and bully the weak? How does it feel to be beaten so badly you can't even fight back? Are you happy now?" The thoroughly lectured Lu Ziming quickly begged for mercy. A little later, Lucia saw the dejected group walking down the road and had her driver call her brother over to the car. "What were you doing at number 1 high?" she asked, feigning surprise. "You saw me?" Lu Ziming said, shocked. "I'm warning you, don't you dare say a word about what happened today or I'll make you regret it." "Lu Ziming," Lucia said dismissively. "You're 15 years old. Can't you act a little more mature?" Hearing her lecture him, he scoffed. "Someone who has to cheat to get a good score on a competition is talking to me about maturity?" Lucia tensed and clutched her file folder. Seeing this, Lu Ziming added, "I almost forgot. You've already got the answers, haven't you?" At that moment, the troublemaker Lu Ziming had an idea. "Instead of letting this annoying girl cheat with the answers, I might as well—" Huoya walked into an herb shop and asked politely, "Excuse me, do you have any old stock Peacock Nation sandalwood?" The shopkeeper, wearing reading glasses, bent over and replied courteously, "Yes, we do. Please wait a moment." He then brought out the herb, holding it carefully in both hands. "Old stock sandalwood is hard to come by. This is all the classic new stock sandalwood I could get." Huoyao took it and examined it closely. The shopkeeper quickly explained with a smile, "Don't be fooled by the names. The medicinal effects are the same." Huoyao's lips curved into a smile. "The so-called new stock is grown outside of the Peacock Nation," she said seriously. "Sir, you're passing off sandalwood from other regions as old stock Peacock Nation sandalwood. The price difference is dozens of times higher. I'm going to report you to the Consumer Protection Agency." The owner immediately started backpedaling with a laugh. No, I was just joking with you. This is what you're looking for." This time, Huoyao reluctantly accepted. The shopkeeper was sweating, thinking, "This young girl is an expert. But threatening to report me to the consumer agency right off the bat? That's terrifying." He quickly waved her out of the shop. She had searched the entire market, but she was still missing several herbs. She pinned all her hopes on the last shop, the Imperial Apothecary. She knocked on the door, but the apprentice who answered tried to turn her away. "Sorry, we're closing up." "Do you have 100-year-old turtle shell, 5-flavor spirit, white frankincense, or dragon bone stone?" Huoyao asked directly. Hearing the names of these herbs, the apprentice knew this was a serious customer. Not only were these ingredients expensive and rare, but their usage was also very specific. Only someone with a deep understanding of medicine would buy them. He quickly invited her in. "We have everything except the 100-year-old turtle shell," he said with a smile. He packaged the herbs for her. "That will be 320,000 wen in total." Huoyao didn't bat an eye. "Can I pay by bank transfer?" The apprentice gave her the account number, and she transferred the money immediately. What surprised the apprentice wasn't that she had so much money, but that she had memorized the long account number after just one glance. Just then, a white-browed old man spoke. "Heng, didn't I tell you to close the shop? What are you daydreaming about?" "Master," the apprentice explained, "that customer just now had a very unusual prescription." Before he could continue, the old man cut him off. "We'll talk about it tomorrow. The guest inside is still waiting." "Young Master Yin, with your current condition, all I can do for now is have you slowly recuperate with medicine. There's nothing else I can do at the moment." Hearing the old man's words, his assistant said angrily, "That's not going to work. Can't you try something else?" "This book was passed down from my ancestors," the old man said helplessly. "I've studied it my whole life and still haven't figured it out. You can show it to the people at the Pharmacists Association. Maybe they'll have some luck." "A gentleman does not take what another holds dear," Minyu said calmly. "Since this is an heirloom of Elder Pei's, how could I borrow it?" "But your health," his assistant said anxiously. Minyu cut him off. "Didn't Elder Pei say it can be managed for now? That's good enough." Elder Pei then said thoughtfully, "If we could find a descendant of the legendary Shangguan clan, all of these problems could be solved. But that clan hasn't been seen in a very long time." The doting mother started to worry. "Honey, what are we going to do? This house is too small. Our daughter wants a spare room for her crafts, but we don't even have a dedicated space for her. I had to let her use our third son's room for now. I know he lives abroad, but it's not a long-term solution." "Why don't we move to the Jade Water Bay Villa?" he said calmly. "The neighborhood is nice, the house is bigger, and it's closer to her school." His wife's face lit up. "That's right, I totally forgot about that villa. I'll call a designer tomorrow." Meanwhile, Huo Yao had just entered her third brother's room and saw the certificates on his wall: the Knowles Prize in Medical and Biological Sciences, the Lasker Award. These were some of the most prestigious medical awards in the world. She had no idea her third brother, Huo Yulin, was a medical genius. "It's a shame he's abroad," she thought with a sigh. "Otherwise, we could have exchanged some ideas." Remembering what she came for, Huo Yao rolled up her sleeves. "Time to get to work." She carefully measured the ingredients, not a single bit too much or too little. She simmered them over a low flame, not a second too long. After a whole night of meticulous work, she finally finished just before dawn. She stretched, satisfied, and grumbled to herself, "If I wasn't repaying a favor, I would never have bothered with something so complicated." Without resting, she immediately contacted Minyu. "Are you free tomorrow? I have something for you." The next day, they met at a tea house. As soon as she walked in, Huo Yao smelled a familiar scent of sandalwood, the same one from the Imperial Apothecary. Minyu was sitting at a tea table, and he said calmly, "You're here. Have a seat. Try this pre-Qingming Dragon Well tea." Huo Yao lifted the cup, took a sniff, and then a small sip. "The aroma is rich and the taste is smooth and mellow. It's excellent tea," she praised. "I hear you're in the international competition," Minyu said. "Did the old lady tell you that?" Huo Yao asked, holding her teacup. He avoided the question. "As your tutor, I have to do my part." "Stop right there," Huo Yao said quickly. "You don't need to do anything. Just keeping the old lady happy is enough." Minyu smiled. "Of course." At that moment, his assistant, sitting nearby, choked on his tea. Huo Yao was completely confused. The assistant was thinking, "Sir, are you still the same cool and detached young Master Min? She makes a request and you actually agree?" Huo Yao took out the item she had made and placed it on the table. "By the way, this incense should help you. I noticed you weren't looking well before. Consider it a thank you for taking care of my grandmother." She then stood up. "The tea was great. Thanks for having me. If there's nothing else, I won't keep you." She turned to leave. "Wait," Minyu said, standing up. He handed her a box of tea. "Take this. When you run out, just ask me for more." Huo Yao didn't refuse. "Well, thank you then," she said a little hesitantly. The assistant started complaining to himself again. What a ripoff. She gives you one box of incense and you give her a limited edition box of tea. After Huo Yao left, the assistant couldn't hold it in any longer. "Sir, I just don't get it. What's so great about her that you go to such lengths to take care of her?" "A year ago," Minyu said thoughtfully, "she saved my life." The assistant was even more confused. "How could a young girl like her save you?" "That's what I still haven't figured out," Minyu said, opening the gift box. A soothing fragrance wafted out, instantly refreshing him. This smells like sandalwood, but it's a little different." As the proprietor of the Imperial Apothecary, he was a big name in the world of Chinese medicine. He took one sniff and exclaimed, "This is true calming incense. The person who made this is an absolute genius. He took another deep sniff. Brilliant. Simply brilliant. The herbs used in this incense are all specifically targeted for your condition. Ingredients like 5-flavor spirit and white frankincense are very potent. If you were to ingest them directly, your body wouldn't be able to handle it. But by grinding them into a powder and mixing them with sandalwood for external use, not only is it not harmful, but the medicinal properties are maximized. This was custom made for you by a master of herbal medicine. Young Master Yin, would it be possible to introduce me to this master? To be honest, Minyu said a little awkwardly, it was a gift from a friend. But I can assure you, she is not someone who understands medicine. At that moment, the apprentice remembered the young girl who had bought these exact herbs a few days ago, but he dismissed it as a coincidence. His assistant excitedly asked, Elder Pei, does this mean my master's health can be cured with this incense? Elder Pei shook his head. While this incense is helpful, it's only for managing the condition, not a complete cure. He added, however, this box of incense should last for at least half a year. During that time, I will do my best to find a permanent cure. Minyu was relieved. He bowed to Elder Pei, thanked him, and left. On the way back, his assistant said curiously, I wonder where Ms. Huo got such amazing incense. Perhaps she knows someone, Minyu guessed thoughtfully. But to have a friend of this caliber, she can't be simple herself. He then teased, do you still think it was a ripoff? The assistant's face turned red. He was thinking, not only was it not a ripoff, it was an absolute steal. This is way more valuable than the tea. He then said with a grin, Sir, I remember you still have that ultra-rare Da Hong Pao tea. Should I send some over to Ms. Huo? Minyu was speechless at his complete change in attitude. Meanwhile, Huo Yao was sitting in her classroom, pretending to be diligently studying her language materials, but was actually fighting off sleep. Suddenly, someone shouted, Go check the bulletin board! The test scores are up! A crowd quickly formed around the board. To no one's surprise, Huo Yao was first in the entire school. Students started whispering, I can't believe even Yi Lianfan, who's been number 1 for years, was beaten by this transfer student. I heard she failed her language exam. Does that mean she got perfect scores in every other subject? That's insane. In the crowd, Lucia looked like she had lost her sparkle. Huo Yao again, she muttered to herself. Why has everything changed since she came? She made a silent vow. I may have lost the monthly exam, but I will win the national academic competition. Seeing the uninvited Lucia, her big brother said flatly, What are you doing here today? Don't you have class this afternoon? Lucia slowly took off her sunglasses and said with a delicate weakness, The last period was a study hall, so I took it off. I was going to ask second brother out to dinner, but he didn't answer his phone. I wonder if he's busy. She then changed the subject. We haven't gotten together in a while. Why don't you call him big brother? Her brother remembered how he had misunderstood Huo Yao because of her words. His second brother's warning echoed in his mind. Yao Yao is your real sister. He said, He seems to be busy lately. Let's just wait and do it some other time. Hearing his reply, Lucia's grip on her water glass tightened. Okay, I guess so, she said with disappointment. Then, with an innocent look, she added, I'm just a little worried. After what happened, Yao Yao won't even talk to me. And when I called second brother today, he didn't answer. I'm afraid he might have misunderstood me. You're overthinking it, her brother said sternly. Tingrui isn't someone who's easily swayed by gossip, and Yao Yao isn't the type to spread rumors. Lu Xia relaxed a little, but then he said, Make yourself at home, I have to get back to work. He then turned and left. Lu Xia was utterly disappointed. Why does it feel like everything is spinning out of my control? This feels awful. Meanwhile, his assistant told Huo Tingrui that he had a private call during the court hearing. He saw that it was from Lucia and was wondering what she wanted when his big brother, Huo Yangxi, called. Hey, what's up? I just finished in court and saw I missed a call from Lucia. I was about to call her back when you called. Tingrui? His big brother asked strangely. Has Yao Yao ever mentioned Xiaxia to you? No, why? Huo Tingrui replied. It's nothing, Huo Yangxi explained. Xiaxia came by to see me earlier. She wanted to ask you out to dinner, but I was busy, so she left. Okay, well, get back to your work then. After hanging up, he was completely confused. What was that call all about? On the other end, Huo Yangxi felt a sense of relief. He had been a little worried by what Lucia had said, but it seemed he had been overthinking it. He was right to trust his second brother and Huo Yao. While Min Yu was contacting Huo Yao to confirm if it was the right one, his assistant had already placed the order. Just then, a message from Huo Yao came through. "It's not!" Min Yu's face fell. He looked at his assistant. "You placed the order, didn't you?" "Of course," the assistant said proudly. "The boss needs it, so I took care of it." Min Yu didn't even want to talk to him. "Have someone send that box of Dahong Pao tea from the old man's collection. I need it the day after tomorrow." The assistant was shocked. "You have several collector's editions of your own. Why are you going after the old master's prized tea? He's been saving that for decades. If he finds out, he'll flip." "Then he won't find out," Min Yu said firmly. "If he's been saving it for decades, a few more decades won't hurt." The assistant's jaw dropped. "Sir, you're on another level." "I'll arrange for it right away." Min Yu just grunted in acknowledgement, but his assistant couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Meanwhile, Huo Yao called her second brother to invite him home for dinner, but he told her he had to go on an urgent business trip for a few days. She could tell from his tone that something was wrong. "Did something happen?" she asked with concern. "It's nothing, little sis, don't worry," he reassured her. But he was rushing to the airport. His third brother's assistant was waiting for him at the arrival gate. "Sorry to make you come all this way," he said politely. "It's fine," Huo Tinggui said anxiously. "How is Huo Xiang now?" The assistant's face fell. "He's not doing well," he stammered, his hands gripping the railing. He then took him to a manor where his third brother, Huo Yulin, who lived abroad, was waiting to greet him. "Second brother, I'm sorry," he said a little awkwardly. "I was busy and couldn't pick you up myself." His second brother rushed forward and hugged the brother he hadn't seen in so long. "I'm so happy to see you're doing well." Knowing this, his second brother got straight to the point. Is there really no way for Huo Xiang's injury to heal? When it came to medical matters, Huo Yulin's confidence returned. "It can definitely heal, but he won't be able to do any strenuous activities anymore. He has to leave the stage. The problem is he's not cooperating." "I see," Huo Tinggui said thoughtfully. "I'll go talk to him." After being treated coldly by the Huo brothers, Lucia came home in a bad mood. "What's wrong?" her mother asked. "You look like you've seen a ghost. Did someone bully you at the company?" Lucia buried her face in a pillow and mumbled, "No." "Then did something happen at school?" her mother pressed. Her tone turned angry. "Was it that Huo Yao girl?" Lucia's eyes welled up with tears. "Mom, please don't ask," she choked out. Her mother understood immediately. She slammed her water glass on the table and said through gritted teeth, "That country girl is a jinx. Not only did she drive your grandmother back to her hometown, but now she's tormenting you at school." She grabbed her phone. "I'm going to call the Huo family right now and ask them how they raised their daughter." Seeing her mother was serious, the guilty Lucia quickly stopped her. "Mom, it's really nothing. You shouldn't get upset over someone so insignificant." She snatched the phone from her mother's hand. "You're just too kind," her mother fumed. "You won't even speak up when you're being bullied." But Lucia knew the truth. She had been the one causing all the trouble. Seeing how insistent her daughter was, and not wanting to upset her before her big competition the next day, her mother decided to find another way. The next day, the international competition began. Just as Huo Yao's parents were sending their daughter into the exam hall, a man in a suit stopped them. "The madam would like to invite you for a coffee." Huo Yao's parents were confused. "It's about Miss Huo Yao," the man added. When they got to the coffee shop, Lucia's mother was sitting with her arms crossed. She said arrogantly to the man, "Old Zhang, go tell the manager not to let any other customers in here." "Yes, madam," he said obediently. To Huo Yao's mother, this was just a pathetic display. She thought, "I know so many rich women, and I've never seen anyone so tacky." Lucia's mother, seeing that Huo Yao's mother wasn't fazed by the high-end coffee shop or her little performance, thought to herself, "She's from a poor family. Why is she pretending to be so sophisticated?" She sat up straight and said coolly, "Please, have a seat. Order whatever you like." "Let's not waste time," Huo Yao's mother said impatiently. "Get to the point." Lucia's mother leisurely took a sip of her coffee. "I want you to transfer Huo Yao to another school. I don't want anyone harassing my Shasha at school." Her mother continued, "Besides, your daughter's grades are bad. She can't keep up at number 1 high. It would be better for her to go to a school that's a better fit. It would be less damaging to her self-esteem. At this point, Huoyao's mother felt a wave of secondhand embarrassment. What? The top student in the entire school has bad grades? This woman must be crazy. Before she could say anything, Lucia's mother pulled out a check for 5 million yuan. This should be enough, right? She said smugly. Just make sure your daughter stays away from our Lu family from now on. Huoyao's mother's first thought was, she's making a big deal out of 5 million? My daughter's wardrobe is worth more than that. She said calmly, I just want to know, how exactly did my daughter bully your xiaxia? Lucia's mother avoided her gaze. Go ask your daughter, she said irritably. So you don't actually know, do you? Huoyao's mother pressed. She picked up the check. I'm sorry, but our daughter is not transferring. She then tore the check to pieces. This little bit of money wouldn't even be enough for my daughter's toys. How embarrassing for you. She tossed the shredded pieces into the air. Honey, let's go home. In the world of the rich and famous, Min Yu perfectly embodied the art of borrowing from his dad. To thank Huoyao for the calming incense, he had borrowed his father's prized, decades-old Da Hong Pao tea and given it to her. She, probably not knowing the value of the tea, accepted it and said shyly, Thanks, you're looking much better. Min Yu looked at the tea with a hint of longing. It's all thanks to your incense. At that moment, his clueless assistant chimed in. Miss Huo, you must know that shop owner really well, right? He gave me a huge discount when I placed the order. Huoyao was completely confused. What shop owner? She asked, looking at Min Yu. Min Yu stared straight ahead and awkwardly scratched his head, thinking, This naive assistant is going to be the death of me. How could you possibly buy incense of this quality? I had to steal my father's tea to give her in return. Isn't it obvious? But the assistant, still oblivious, continued with a smile. The owner of the incense shop you told us about. Huoyao immediately understood. She couldn't believe he had actually taken her seriously. So, how much did you buy? She asked. I bought out his entire stock, the assistant said proudly. The two people in the back seat exchanged an awkward glance, neither wanting to burst the assistant's bubble. Huoyao just slowly said, Oh. Fortunately, Min Yu cleared his throat to break the tension. Huoyao, what would you like for dinner tonight? My treat. Hearing this, Huoyao's mood brightened. As long as it's a big meal, I'm not picky. So Min Yu took her to a private kitchen called the herbalist's table. As they walked through the spacious hall, he explained, This restaurant specializes in medicinal cuisine. The clientele is quite exclusive, so they don't accept walk-ins. Hearing medicinal cuisine, Huoyao remarked, There aren't many people who can make this kind of food anymore. Soon, a man in a traditional robe brought over a steamer basket. He took out the pastries inside and said politely to Min Yu, Young Master Min, when old Yi heard you were coming, he insisted on personally cooking a new medicinal dish he's been developing. It will take some time, so please enjoy these appetizers first. Seeing the delicate pastries, Huoyao commented casually, Almond crisp pastries. They're good for nourishing and moisturizing, perfect for this season. She picked one up and took a bite. It melted in her mouth, sweet but not cloying. It was delicious. The man in the robe was stunned. He couldn't believe this young girl recognized the almond crisp pastry. He pointed to another pastry and asked, And do you know what this is called? Huoyao picked one up, took a bite, and said confidently, This is jade dew pastry. But she trailed off and dropped it back on the plate. And it's a failure. But then Huoyao continued, The kudzu root and trichosanthes root weren't roasted dry enough, which ruined the texture and medicinal effect of the pastry. Her professional-sounding words stunned the server. He thought, She can taste such a subtle difference. She must be an expert. He tried to smooth things over. Are you a student of medicinal cuisine? No, Huoyao said nonchalantly. An elder in my family used to make it. Her simple answer made the server's heart skip a beat. A family that can make medicinal pastries must be extraordinary. He decided to clear the plate and, as he turned, bumped into Min Yu's assistant. Seeing the pastries being taken away, the assistant grabbed one and popped it in his mouth. Wow, these are delicious, he said, thoroughly enjoying it. The server gave him a strange look, not sure what to say. The assistant, however, suddenly felt like the server's glance was offensive, but he had no proof. He went into the private room and found Huoyao doing her homework. Miss Huo, your handwriting is beautiful, he said politely. Seeing how quickly she was answering the questions, he chuckled to himself. All underachievers are the same. I used to fill in answers randomly just as fast as she is. Suddenly, Huoyao put down her pen. She had smelled a unique aroma. Sure enough, the server carefully brought in a dish. Just from the smell, Huoyao knew it was made with many precious medicinal herbs. Seeing her eager expression, the server said proudly, "This is Old Yi's newly developed medicinal dish, snow lotus and golden turtle soup. It's good for strengthening the spleen, stimulating the appetite, and regulating QI deficiency." Huoyao couldn't wait to try it. Minyu just picked up his bowl and started drinking. "This soup is excellent," Huoyao praised. "The herbal flavor is perfectly balanced, and it's cooked just right. He truly is a master of medicinal cuisine." Just as the server was about to puff up with pride, Huoyao suddenly added, "But if you added a simple ingredient like white fungus, this soup would be even more perfect." The server's face fell immediately. He thought, "This is the result of months of Old Yi's hard work. What does a young girl like you know? I thought you knew what you were talking about, but it seems you're just here to find fault." Just as he was about to argue, Old Yi himself appeared. "You were saying your family?" he said calmly. Huoyao was surprised to see him. "White fungus is slightly cooling," she explained. "It would balance the warmth of the other herbs and the golden turtle. The art of combining medicinal ingredients is all about synergy. Even the most common ingredient can have its essence maximized if paired correctly." Old Yi kept repeating the word synergy to himself. The server, however, said, "You're just a young girl. What do you know about combining herbs? Old Yi has been studying this for years. You have no right to criticize him." "If an old, experienced doctor were saying this right now, would you think it made sense?" Huoyao said, annoyed. "Knowledge of medicine is about skill, not age." The server was speechless. "You're just twisting words." At that moment, Minyu slammed his bowl on the table. "So being young means you don't have the right to speak?" he said angrily. The server finally realized he had been rash. Offending this young girl was one thing, but he couldn't afford to offend young Master Min. He reluctantly bowed and apologized. Old Yi's hand holding the spoon tightened. "I've studied medicinal principles for 60 years, he said, frustrated. "Only to be trapped in the mindset that only dishes made with precious herbs can be called medicinal cuisine. How foolish of me. I've been so foolish." He then turned to Huoyao and bowed deeply. "Young lady, thank you for your enlightening words." The server's jaw dropped. Huoyao was flattered and quickly tried to explain that it was just a casual remark, and she didn't deserve such a grand gesture. But in Old Yi's eyes, she wasn't a child, she was a master in the field of medicinal principles. The key was synergy, and just chasing after expensive ingredients was missing the point. He lamented how old and narrow-minded he had become. He looked at his apprentice, who was now ashamed of his earlier outburst. He couldn't believe that after all these years with him, he still couldn't tell the difference between right and wrong. The apprentice, however, still didn't get it. He thought his master was overreacting. Even if it was to save face for young Master Min, this was all a bit much. But following his master's orders, he reluctantly apologized. Huoyao, of course, could see his reluctance, but she didn't press the issue. Old Yi, seeing this, was disappointed in his apprentice and sent him to bring the next course. He then said kindly, "My apprentice here is inexperienced. I apologize for the scene." He then made his intentions clear. He wanted to take Huoyao on as his disciple. He could see she had a natural talent for medicinal principles and would be a perfect fit as a medicinal chef. Huoyao playfully shook her head and politely declined. The assistant looked on with envy. He told her that the Yi family was a century-old dynasty in the world of medicinal cuisine and that Old Yi had never taken on an official disciple before. He hoped she would cherish this opportunity. But Huoyao just wanted to live a normal life, and using the excuse of not being interested, she declined again. Old Yi was a little disappointed, but he didn't push her. He said she could come to him any time if she changed her mind. Minyu quickly stepped in to smooth things over, thanking Old Yi on Huoyao's behalf. This gesture only made Old Yi more certain that Huoyao was no ordinary person. He had never seen young Master Min defend someone so fiercely. "Young Master Min, you're too kind," he said politely. "A friend of yours is a friend of our Yi family." He then left. As they were leaving, the server ran after them and gave her a card, saying Old Yi had specifically requested it. Minyu told her the card was very useful. "Does it get me a discount?" Huoyao asked. You could put it that way, Minyu replied, a little awkwardly. The assistant looked at them with a hint of disdain. That's a symbol of honored status, and you two are treating it like a discount card? Back in the kitchen, the apprentice asked, Master, why did you give such a precious token to a young girl? It's always good to make another friend, Old Yi replied sagely. How powerful can a 17 or 18-year-old girl be? His apprentice thought. Just because Huoyao came home late from dinner with Minyu, her parents had been waiting outside for who knows how long. When they finally saw her, they noticed she was dropped off in a luxury car. Her mother pretended to be casual as she bent down to get a better look inside, and sure enough, saw it was a boy. Huoyao saw her mother's strange behavior and immediately understood. She thanked Minyu and sent him on his way. Her parents watched the car drive off with regret. He got away before we could figure out what was going on. Why didn't you invite your friend up? Her mother probed. It's too late, Huoyao explained, knowing exactly what she was getting at. I saw it was a boy, her mother pressed. He was my old tutor. My grades weren't great back home, and he helped me a lot. She brightened up immediately. You should have said so. There's nothing inconvenient about that. We should be thanking him properly. But her father, with his detective-like instincts, had noticed something. The car, though only worth a few million, had a special vanity plate with consecutive numbers, and a gold one at that. This tutor was no ordinary person. And why would a tutor from her old town be here? Back inside, Huoyao gave her father the tea Minyu had given her. He took it, beaming with joy, and praised his sweet daughter for being so thoughtful. He then looked at the tea in his hands, and his eyes widened in shock. No way! This is premium Da Hong Pao tea. Seeing her father's incredulous expression, Huoyao asked what was wrong. His smile froze. Yao Yao, where did you buy this tea? A friend gave it to me, she explained. Was it your tutor? He asked warily. Yes, Huoyao said, confused. He gave me the Dragonwell tea last time, too. But daughter, her father pressed, he's just your tutor. Why would he give you such expensive tea? You know, you can't even buy this premium Da Hong Pao with money. It's a collector's item. Huoyao was a little embarrassed. She had no idea the tea was so valuable. But then again, her calming incense was also priceless. She decided to play dumb. I gave him a handmade sandalwood incense before. Maybe he thought it was really good. Her father heard this flimsy excuse and was even more convinced of his suspicions. My naive daughter, even the best sandalwood incense can't compare to the price of this tea. That tutor definitely has ulterior motives. After just 2 days abroad, he demanded to see his sister the moment he got back. So Huoyao went to the airport to pick him up. When he saw her, he rushed over, excitedly patting her head, feeling bad that she had to wait for him. But Huoyao dodged him and greeted her fourth brother and his assistant behind him. The assistant was thrilled that Huoyao knew him name. Her fourth brother, though wearing a mask, couldn't hide his exhaustion. He was surprised his sister had come to the airport. Her second brother, seeing this, threw an arm around Huoyao and said a little awkwardly, all right, let's go. It's crowded here, we can talk at home. He was clearly miffed that she had greeted the assistant instead of him. At the parking lot, he had planned to sit with Huoyao, but he found his fourth brother had already claimed the spot next to her. I let my guard down again, he grumbled. He reluctantly sat in the passenger seat, muttering to himself, that fourth brother is such a schemer. After getting in the car, her fourth brother took off his mask. He wanted to talk to Huoyao, but he didn't know what she was interested in. Just then, Huoyao looked at him and noticed how pale he was, with dark circles under his eyes and a red spot on his forehead, and a bandage on his hand from an IV. Fourth brother, are you sick? She asked with concern. He didn't know how to explain. Fortunately, her second brother stepped in. He's just tired from the flight. Huoyao was skeptical, but just told him to rest well when he got home. He didn't explain further, just said, okay, I will. But he knew in his heart that no amount of rest would help him recover. When they got home, their fourth brother was about to grab his own luggage, but Huoyao grabbed his wrist. He was confused, but she just widened her eyes and said awkwardly, sorry, wrong one. She then grabbed the suitcase and started walking. Thanks, little sis, he mumbled, following behind, but I can get it myself. Her second brother, who had been completely ignored, was now a wreck. He felt a chill run down his spine, a sense of loneliness washing over him as he repeatedly asked himself, am I even their real brother? Back home, their parents were waiting. Their mother saw how much thinner her fourth son was and how exhausted he looked. She fretted that he wasn't taking care of himself. He, not wanting to worry her, said it was just from the flight. But he couldn't fool Huo Yao. She had grabbed his wrist earlier to check his pulse. She already knew he had suffered a physical trauma, but that wasn't the main issue. There was something else wrong with his pulse. Anxious, she went straight to her room. She logged into a secret pharmacy chat group and asked, "Has anyone sold any Wu Yu recently?" She suspected her fourth brother had been poisoned with it. What kind of person would develop such a poison? It was harmless to ordinary people, but was only triggered in those who had suffered nerve damage. Once activated, the toxin would spread like a vine, rapidly attacking the body's neurons. In the early stages, the victim would experience intermittent manic episodes, and a dark shadow would appear on their temples. In the later stages, they would lose weight rapidly and develop strange red patches on their skin. All of these symptoms were present in her fourth brother. Who could hate him so much? This person wanted to completely destroy him. The next day, Huo Yao came downstairs and saw her fourth brother happily greeting him. He smiled back, but she could clearly see he wasn't well. She handed him a bottle of pills. He was confused, but their father jumped in. "The ultimate revitalization pill. It's a welcome gift from your sister. Every one of us got one, and let me tell you, it works wonders. See for yourself." Their father, feeling strong, excitedly started showing off his moves, but accidentally knocked over an antique from the mahogany cabinet. "Oh no!" he cried, his heart breaking. "My one-of-kind blue and white porcelain vase. That was used by the Qin Emperor's great-grandmother." Huo Zheng looked at the medicine in his hand with a frown. "Even if it is a miracle drug, my injury is in my spine. What good will this do me?" Huo Yao seemed to sense his doubt. She cleared her throat and said playfully, "Don't worry. Your bottle is different from Dad's. It's a Jade Clarity pill. It's great for clearing out toxins and repairing physical damage." Her fourth brother just subconsciously said, "Oh." But their father, who was still mourning his vase, was shocked. He thought, "Toxins? Repairing physical damage? What is she talking about? She sounds like a salesperson for health supplements." Her fourth brother was also surprised. "How does my little sister know I'm injured?" Huo Yao didn't explain. "Fourth brother, trust me," she said happily. "You have to take this. 1 pill every 3 days. Don't forget." He clutched the bottle tightly, his heart growing heavier. "Okay, little sis, I will." But he knew his sister was just being kind. With his condition, no medicine could cure him. To make sure Huo Yao had some status at school, he decided she could no longer take the bus. He mysteriously led her to the garage. Huo Yao was confused, but she could tell her dad was especially happy today. He led her to an object covered with a red cloth and said excitedly, "Go on, unveil it. There's a surprise." "Did you get a new car?" Huo Yao asked calmly. Her dad was a little disappointed she had guessed so easily. "Yeah, the old one was getting pretty old. It was over a year old. I just got my quarterly bonus from the company, so I decided to get a new one." He urged her to unveil it and see what she thought. Huo Yao played along and pulled off the cloth. Before her was a top-of-the-line Rolls-Royce, in a gaudy but not at all blinding gold color. It was a very humble car. "Dad?" Huo Yao asked, surprised. "Is your quarterly bonus really that high?" Her dad started to panic. "I can't tell her this car is over 10 million. What if I scare her?" He smiled and said, "It was okay. This car might look luxurious, but it wasn't that expensive. Only about 1 million or so." Huo Yao looked at the golden hood ornament and thought, "A top-of-the-line Rolls-Royce for 1 million? This old man has some nerve." Seeing her disbelieving expression, her dad got nervous. "Oh, we're going to be late. Get in, I'll drive you to school." However, when they got near the school, Huo Yao asked him to stop. "I can take you all the way to the gate," her dad said, disappointed. "No, Dad, really, it's fine. You can go back now," Huo Yao insisted. After getting out, Huo Yao breathed a sigh of relief. What a joke. Driving up to the school gate in such a flashy car, I'd be stared at like a monkey. Her dad reluctantly said goodbye. As luck would have it, Lucia's private car was just passing by. The driver, seeing the Rolls-Royce, remarked, "That family must be someone important." But when Lucia saw Huo Yao walking, she immediately had the driver stop. She called out to her and said, for no apparent reason, while the competition results are still out, you should just withdraw. She then drove off. Hou-yao was confused. Who do you think you are? She retorted, leaving Lucia speechless. She leaned in close and said with a smirk, don't you have anything better to do than try to get my attention? I have zero interest in you. She then turned and walked away, leaving Lucia fuming. Just as she got to her classroom, the English teacher rushed over and called her away. Hou-yao was nervous. The last time she was called to the office, it was because she had failed her language exam. Had she offended the English teacher now? That couldn't be right. She always got a perfect score on his exams. The English teacher saw her worry and smiled. Don't be nervous. I have good news for you. The education department is organizing an English-speaking competition. The school only has 5 spots, and since you have the best English grades in our class, I wanted to recommend you. Teacher, she said quickly, my grades might be good, but my spoken English is terrible. That can't be right, the teacher said, surprised. How could your spoken English be bad? The principal himself recommended you. Hou-yao exploded internally. It's that old trickster again. He's trying to set me up. Now on high alert, Hou-yao insisted, Teacher, my spoken English is really bad. If I mess up, the principal will expel me. I can't bear to leave you and my classmates. Unbeknownst to her, the prim and proper principal was eavesdropping at the door. Hearing what she said about him, he started to doubt himself. Am I really that unreasonable? He walked in and asked sternly, Why don't you want to participate? My spoken English is too poor, Hou-yao explained. Oh, is that so? The principal said nonchalantly. I was going to mention that there's a 100,000 yen prize for this competition. Would that interest you? Since you're not interested, I guess. Before he could finish, Hou-yao's confidence returned in a flash. Teacher, actually, I think my spoken English is fine after all. Let's sign me up. The money doesn't matter. I'm just in it for the experience. Even though Hou-yao had walked right into his trap, she was grumbling to herself. This old trickster is so devious. He knows exactly how to manipulate people. Then it's settled, the principal said, and walked away with his hands behind his back. The English teacher stood there, stunned, a feeling that something wasn't quite right. Someone leaked the news of his injury. If it was confirmed, the higher-ups at the company would definitely turn on him. The proud Hwo-sang couldn't accept his new reality and fell into a state of despair. You just can't dance, Tong-yu insisted. You can still sing. We still have a chance. At a time like this, can't you just swallow your pride? Are you really going to let another artist take your place? Just then, there was a frantic knock on the door. Let me handle the company, Tong-yu told him. Don't say a word. When he opened the door, he found his nemesis, Jin-shu. What are you doing here? Tong-yu said irritably. Jin-shu walked straight into the room. Close the door, he said arrogantly. Tong-yu sensed something was up. Sure enough, Jin-shu sat down and said with a sneer, What a shame, such a promising career about to be ruined. You two don't seem very worried, though. If you have something to say, just say it, Tong-yu said, annoyed. Stop with the act. Jin-shu's face twisted into a smug grin. Everyone knows by now that Hwo-xiang is injured and can't perform on stage anymore. I just came by to show my concern. Why are you so worked up, Tong-yu? Tong-yu knew exactly what was going on. Jin-shu had always been resentful of being in his shadow. Now that Hwo-xiang was in trouble, he was here to kick him while he was down. My xiang is just too popular, Tong-yu said, crossing his arms nonchalantly. Jealousy makes people ugly. They'll start all sorts of rumors. Jin-shu stood up, angered. You don't have to pretend, Tong-yu. We all know whether Hwo-xiang is injured or not. His tone changed. For old time's sake, I can help you cover this up. I'll even take care of all the rumors at the company. Tong-yu remained silent. Jin-shu continued slowly. As long as Hwo-xiang gives up his position as the band's leader. In your dreams, Tong-yu exploded. But Jin-shu didn't get angry. Your artist is already a lost cause. It's better to step down gracefully than to be kicked out by the company. At least you'll save some face. He stood up to leave. Think about it. Let me know when you've made up your mind. This offer won't last forever. Tong-yu was furious. That backstabbing dog, how dare he make such a demand? They were once the hottest duo in the boy band, vowing to conquer the world together. But when his partner, Xiangnan, found out about Hwo-xiang's secret illness, he didn't show any concern. Instead, he saw an opportunity. He tried to use it as leverage to force Huoxiang to give up his position as the band's leader. His manager, Tong Yu, was now pinning his hopes on the profound art of traditional Chinese medicine. He would try anything, no matter how slim the chance. For now, all he could do was tell Huoxiang to rest and let him handle the company. Huoxiang looked at Tong Yu, perhaps the only person at the company who was genuinely trying to help him. "Tongge, thank you," he said from the heart. As he turned to leave, Tong Yu's eyes were drawn to a delicate bottle in his hand. "What's that? It's pretty." Huoxiang's face lit up with pride. "It's a welcome gift from my little sister. It's not just pretty. Inside is a jade clarity pill. She said it's for detoxing and repairing physical damage. See? My sister really cares about me." Tong Yu took the bottle and poured out a pill. It looked like a traditional Chinese medicine. "Here, let me take this. I'll have a doctor check if it's safe for you to take." He couldn't help but think how unique his sister was. Even her gifts were one of kind. Tong Yu then said with interest, "Hey, ask our sister if she's interested in a career in entertainment." With a face like that. Before he could finish, Huoxiang cut him off. "My sister's not interested," he said sternly, thinking, "Thanks, but no thanks. Who's this our sister? I thought we were best friends, and here you are, eyeing my sister?" He slammed the door and left. Tong Yu was left standing there, confused. "If she's not interested, she's not interested. Why are you so mad at me?" At dusk, on her way home from school, Huoyao saw someone squatting at her doorstep. As she got closer, she realized it was her fourth brother. "Fourth brother?" she asked, confused. "Why aren't you going inside?" "They changed the locks," he said awkwardly. "I don't have the new key, and the housekeeper doesn't seem to be home." He then grumbled, "I called Dad earlier to say I was moving back in, and he just told me the house was too small for all of us and hung up. And now the locks are changed." He was completely baffled. The house was over 8,000 square feet. It was a villa. Something felt off. "Is your room the first one on the left on the second floor?" she asked, changing the subject. He nodded subconsciously. She then offered to take his luggage upstairs. By the time he realized what was happening, she was already gone. "I can't even do that for myself," he chided himself. It was his first time alone with her, and he was a little flustered. Huoyao took the lead. "Fourth brother, what do you want for dinner? I can whip something up." "Anything's fine," he mumbled, like a shy newlywed. Just as she was about to start cooking, her dad called. "I have a dinner party, and the housekeeper took the day off. I've already ordered dinner. It should be delivered soon." "Okay," Huoyao said obediently. "Be careful at home by yourself," her dad added, still worried. "Don't open the door for anyone." "Don't worry," she told him. "Fourth brother is here with me." Suddenly, she heard on the other end, "What? He's still there? Tell him to—" Huoyao quickly cut him off. "Dad, you're on speaker." Huoxiang was stunned. He was an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire. "Dad, are you—" he started to ask. But the voice on the other end said, "Hello? What did you say? The signal is bad here. I have to go." Huoxiang was still trying to process what had just happened. How can Dad do this without feeling a single ounce of guilt? Just as Huoyao was trying to figure out how to comfort him, the doorbell rang. "That must be the food," she said with relief. "I'll get it." The delivery guy was driving a luxury car and wearing a high-end suit. Even the packaging was a wooden box. After respectfully handing the dinner to Huoyao, he breathed a sigh of relief. The boss said to be low-key and not to scare the young miss. Huoyao, holding the slightly heavy wooden box, was a little taken aback. Has food delivery gotten this fancy? Fortunately, it was just a simple meal of 8 dishes and a soup. After dinner, Huoyao went to do the dishes, but her fourth brother stopped her. "A girl's hands are for taking care of," he said seriously. "Let me do it." Huoyao went to prepare some fruit. A few seconds later, she heard a crash. Yes, as expected, her fourth brother had broken a plate. He was so over the top that even doing a simple chore resulted in an injury. In other words, he was completely useless when it came to housework. In the end, Huoyao had to do everything. His little sister forced him to drink medicine, a homemade, unlabeled product at that. His first instinct was to refuse, but he couldn't stand up to his sister's intimidating pressure. So he gulped it down. Seeing her brother being so obedient, Huoyao patiently instructed him, "If you want to get better quickly, you have to take my medicine on time." What puzzled him even more was that only his second and third brothers knew about his injury, not even his eldest. How did his little sister know? Meanwhile, his assistant took the pill he had gotten from Huoxiang to a national-level traditional Chinese medicine doctor. After examining it, Elder Pei said in disbelief, "This Jade Clarity pill is rated S+ by the Pharmacists Association. Very few pharmacists can make it. It's a truly priceless and rare medicine." The person who had introduced them was also shocked. Even a grade medicine from the association was something ordinary people couldn't get their hands on. Grade ancient formulas were rare, let alone an S+ grade. It was unimaginable. The assistant was confused but understood that it was very valuable. 1,000 of you wouldn't be worth as much as this one pill. He then asked where he got it. "Ah!" the assistant exclaimed, shocked. He explained, "A friend of mine has a spinal nerve injury. His little sister gave him this medicine. Since it didn't have any packaging or instructions, we were a little worried, so I brought it to you." "This medicine is perfect for his condition," Elder Pei explained thoughtfully. "It not only suppresses toxins, but also repairs nerve damage. However, I would still recommend your friend get a thorough checkup. Some chronic toxins don't show up in initial tests." The assistant understood what he was implying and bowed, asking Elder Pei to see Huoxiang. He said he would pay any price. "I have no problem seeing him," Elder Pei said. "But I have one small request. Could you introduce me to the person who made this medicine?" The assistant was thrilled that he had agreed to see him. "I'll go find out right away where the pill came from," he said excitedly. After he left, the introducer asked, "Elder Pei, is this medicine from the Pharmacists Association?" "Even the top alchemists at the association couldn't make a medicine of this caliber," Elder Pei replied. "I thought the association was unrivaled, but it seems there are hidden masters out there. There's always someone better." On the way home from school, a boy blocked their path. He stood with his arms crossed, staring them down. As Huoyao was wondering what was going on, her deskmate told her that this was Yi Lianfan from the honors class. Before she transferred, he was always number 1. It seemed he was here to settle the score. Sure enough, Yi Lianfan walked right up to her. The two of them stood there not saying a word, just glaring at each other. A crowd of students gathered around, whispering, "What's going on? Is the former number 1 finally cracking under the pressure and challenging the current number 1? Fight, fight, fight!" Huoyao also sensed the hostility. "You want to fight? Too bad. Fighting is not allowed on school grounds, but if you're really looking for trouble, I don't mind showing you why the flowers are so red." She cracked her knuckles, looking ready for a fight. Just as things were about to escalate, Yi Lianfan suddenly broke into an awkward smile. "Who wants to fight you? Why is a girl like you so violent?" This sudden change in tone caught the onlookers off guard. What a letdown. What is he up to? Just then, Yi Lianfan pulled out a small heart-shaped envelope. He coolly tossed it to Huoyao. "Give me an answer tomorrow," he said, trying to sound deep. He then tried to make a suave exit. But he was so nervous that he ended up walking with a funny gait. Her deskmate was the first to react. "No way! Is that a love letter?" he said excitedly, rushing over to see what was inside. "It's something you wouldn't understand," Huoyao said mysteriously, hiding the letter behind her back. "How do you know I wouldn't understand if you don't let me see it?" her deskmate pressed. "Trust me, little guy," Huoyao teased, patting his head. "If you saw this, you'd have an existential crisis." "Are you saying I'm dumb?" her deskmate immediately understood. The next day, Yi Lianfan found her again. "Do you have an answer for me?" he asked directly. The students around them leaned in, ready for the drama. Huoyao pulled out the envelope and handed it back to him. "Next time, don't bring me a science problem," she said dismissively. "I'm a humanities student now." Yi Lianfan opened it in front of everyone. Oh my god, it was the final question from last year's International Physics Olympiad. At the time, only one genius had been able to solve it. But Huoyao had solved it in one night, and her method was even simpler. The onlookers were once again disappointed. What is going on? Didn't everyone say it was a love letter yesterday? What kind of love letter is this? Her own father helped her cheat by getting her the exam materials, and she still ended up in last place. It turned out her brother, who couldn't stand his sister, Lu Xia, had sent the materials to her rival. And Huoyao, who had received the materials, had, of course, gotten another perfect score. When her father found out, he wanted to kill his disobedient son. His little prank had ruined all of his plans. And that wasn't all. Soon, the news that Huo Yao had gotten the competition materials was all over social media. The comments section was flooded with accusations and insults. Huo Yao's face darkened as she read them. Hiring so many trolls to slander me? They're clearly trying to drive me out of the school. I guess it's time to settle the score. She stood up and walked out of the classroom. She found Lucia. Seeing her storming towards her, Lucia was a little confused. Huo Yao crossed her arms. Do you have too much time on your hands? Lucia didn't know what she was talking about. Thinking she was playing dumb, Huo Yao laid it all out. First you send me the materials, then you go on social media to slander me. Is this the best you can do? Lucia's little sidekick shot back. You're the one who got caught cheating, and you have the nerve to come and bother our Zhezha? What are you talking about? Lucia asked, getting more and more confused. Her sidekick then showed her the post. Lucia was about to lose her mind. You idiot! I didn't want her to get all the glory, but I never wanted to make the materials public. Dad pulled strings with the association to get those. If this blows up, I'll be in trouble too. Betrayed by her own brother at home and her best friend at school. These people were the worst. Lucia immediately understood what had happened. I didn't post that, she said haughtily. If your conscience is clear, there's no point in you coming to question me. Huo Yao slammed her hand on the table, leaned in, and said slowly, It doesn't matter who posted it. What matters is that from the moment that post went up, you were destined to pay for your stupidity. Lucia was so flustered she couldn't speak. Huo Yao condescendingly tilted her chin up. I was going to let the whole materials thing go, but what you did today was just so stupid it's almost endearing. She then turned and walked away. After she left, her sidekick tried to take credit. I posted it anonymously. I just wanted to get back at her for you. At this point, Lucia couldn't take it anymore. Just shut up, she said irritably. Let me think. Her sidekick was stunned. But Lucia was thinking, I can't believe I trusted you. This isn't getting back at her. This is throwing me under the bus. And now, Mr. Wei was back in the principal's office, reporting that Huo Yao had cheated in the national academic competition and demanding that the principal take serious action. The principal was getting a headache. Huo Yao's abilities were undeniable. He couldn't understand why Mr. Wei was so obsessed with causing her trouble. The whole backdoor rumor had started with him, and out of respect for their long-standing relationship, he hadn't punished him. Why couldn't he just let it go? Seeing how determined he was, the principal decided they needed to deal with this head-on. Are you absolutely certain that Huo Yao has a character problem? He asked sternly. That's not what I'm saying, Mr. Wei said, trying to be careful. It's just that there's been a complaint. The principal asked for evidence. Mr. Wei stammered, It concerns a student's privacy. All I can say is that Huo Yao definitely got the competition materials in advance. The principal immediately understood. Mr. Wei added, This year's competition was mostly science-based and extremely difficult. How could a humanities student do better than our class's Yi Lian Fan? Before the principal could say anything, the physics teacher interjected. Old Wei, you should probably take a look at this first. It was the final question from last year's physics Olympiad that Yi Lian Fan had given to Huo Yao. It had stumped thousands of students. Yi Lian Fan had spent a week on it and couldn't solve it, but Huo Yao had solved it in one night. Yi Lian Fan couldn't believe it and had told his physics teacher. The teacher was convinced Huo Yao was a natural science prodigy and was on his way to the principal's office to try and recruit her when he ran into Mr. Wei making his complaint. Mr. Wei impatiently took the paper. He saw it was the solution to the physics Olympiad problem, and the method was even simpler than the one used by the genius who had solved it last year. He assumed Yi Lian Fan had done it. The person who solved it was Huo Yao, the physics teacher told him. Mr. Wei was in disbelief. But she's a humanities student. At this point, the principal had had enough. He slammed his hand on the desk. Old Wei, you seem to have forgotten something, he said sternly. I originally placed her in your honors class. You were the one who turned her away. Mr. Wei was hit with another blow. That's right. She was a science student. It was my rejection that forced her into the humanities class. The principal then threw a stack of papers on his desk. Old Wei, take a look. Is this the competition material you were talking about? Huo Yao brought it to me a few days ago. She said someone had anonymously mailed it to her house. She was worried someone would try to use it against her, so she gave it to me. And she used a different method to solve the problems on the exam. Mr. Wei's hand holding the papers tightened. Once again, he had been proven completely wrong. This elegant, traditional courtyard home was old Yi's ancestral residence, the kind of place money can't buy. Today, he had specially invited Huo Yao and Min Yu to his home to try a new dish he had developed. As soon as they got out of the car, someone was already there to greet them. He told them that old Yi was still preparing the food and asked them to have some tea first. Min Yu remembered that Huo Yao had participated in the national competition and asked her how it went. "I just qualified for the national finals," she replied. "I'm going to the capital next week to compete." "Oh, what a coincidence," Min Yu said casually. "I happen to be going to the capital next week too. I can show you around." Huo Yao didn't answer right away. She rested her chin on her hand, tilted her head, and stared at him with wide eyes. Min Yu started to feel a little flustered. "What is it?" "I was just thinking that a thoughtful and kind-hearted boy like you is a rare find," she said, not looking away. I couldn't help but stare. Min Yu was completely flustered and couldn't say a word. Huo Yao was pleased with his reaction. "I'm just kidding," she said with a mischievous grin. "I probably won't have time." As they were laughing and talking, the two old men appeared. "This is the talented young lady I'm always telling you about," old Yi said to Elder Pei. He then turned to Huo Yao. "This old man just sells herbs. Come on, try my new dish." Huo Yao took a bite. "Well, what do you think?" old Yi asked eagerly. After savoring it for a moment, Huo Yao said thoughtfully, "If you added 2 ounces of perilla seeds and a pinch of musk, ground into a powder, it would be even better." Old Yi was thrilled and eagerly asked for her opinion on another dish. Elder Pei was also surprised. This young girl could identify such a subtle issue after just one bite. "Young lady," he asked curiously, "you seem to have a deep understanding of medicinal herbs. Is there a traditional Chinese medicine doctor in your family?" "No," Huo Yao said modestly. "I've just read some medical books and know a little. I'm just showing off in front of you, Elder Pei." This made Elder Pei even more excited. "You have such a refined understanding just from reading a few books? You must be a genius among geniuses." Old Yi, seeing this, became even more eager to claim her. "Young lady, are you sure you don't want to be my disciple?" Huo Yao was at a loss and could only explain that she really wasn't interested in cooking. "What about traditional Chinese medicine?" Elder Pei suddenly asked. "Are you interested in that?" The rejected old Yi exploded. "You old quack! Are you really trying to get a young girl to sell herbs with you? And having her be a cook is any better?" Elder Pei retorted, not backing down for his potential genius disciple. And so, the two old men started bickering. Finally, Huo Yao made her stance clear. "Besides studying, I'm not interested in cooking or selling herbs." Meanwhile, at an all-school assembly at number 1 high, the principal was sternly lecturing the students. "Instead of studying, you're all busy spreading rumors and disrupting the school's atmosphere. A student recently posted on the school forum starting a rumor that Huo Yao cheated in the competition. The school will get to the bottom of this." In the audience, Lucia's best friend was terrified. "Xia, what are we going to do? Is the principal going to punish the person who posted it? What are you so scared of?" Lucia said, trying to act calm. "Didn't you post it anonymously?" "I also told my homeroom teacher about it," her friend confessed. Now Lucia was not calm. "What? You posted it anonymously and you told your teacher? Are you trying to get yourself expelled?" "You're the one who told me that Huo Yao forced your dad to pull strings to get the materials," her friend said, looking wronged. "I was just trying to stand up for you." Lucia was speechless. "How can I have such a stupid friend?" She pulled her arm away. "You caused this mess. You're on your own." Her friend's world came crashing down. "I did all this for her, and she's just throwing me under the bus." After cutting ties with her friend, she sent a message to her powerful father, asking him to take care of the situation so she wouldn't be implicated. Unsurprisingly, Lucia was called to the office. She walked in and greeted the principal as if nothing had happened. When he explained the situation, she immediately put on her saint act. First, she took all the blame. "It's all my fault. That adoptive daughter, Huo Yao, begged my dad to pull strings with the association to get the materials. I was so disgusted by her behavior that I complained to Ying Ying. I never thought she would actually post it on the forum." Then she bowed deeply and begged the principal to be lenient with Ying Ying. I am willing to take responsibility for my careless words. At this point, Mr. Wei, who had always disliked Huo Yao but could never get rid of her, asked seriously, Lucia, are you sure it was Huo Yao who asked your father to get the materials? Absolutely, Lucia said without shame. To clear things up, I even asked my dad to come. The principal was exasperated. Fine. I'd like to hear what your father has to say about this. A little later, her father actually showed up. He walked in and said with a guilty look, Principal, I am so sorry for all the trouble my adoptive daughter has caused. She's just not a good student. She was always at the bottom of her class back in our small town, and now she insists on participating in this national competition. It was a moment of weakness on my part. I'm so ashamed that I helped her cheat. But the principal wasn't buying it. Huo Yao? He had gone to great lengths to recruit her. Mr. Liu, are you saying that Huo Yao's grades are very poor? Thinking he had the principal convinced, her father continued, To be honest, I even had to pull strings to get her into high school back in our town. At this point, even Mr. Wei, who had once suspected Huo Yao of getting in through the back door, thought he was laying it on a bit thick. Lucia was panicking. She had forgotten to tell her father about Huo Yao's current grades. The principal didn't waste any more time with him. He just pulled out a stack of Huo Yao's recent exams. When her father saw that they were all perfect scores, he was stunned. That's impossible. Mr. Liu, the principal asked, not holding back, are you still going to blame everything on Huo Yao? Just then, the principal got a call from the main association. After the call, he said, The matter of the leaked competition materials is closed. Her father was secretly pleased. It was a good thing he had called his friend at the association ahead of time. But then the principal added, Lucia's eligibility for the national competition has been revoked. On what grounds are you revoking my daughter's eligibility? Her father protested. You and I both know the reason, the principal said firmly. If I were to pursue this further, it wouldn't be just a matter of revoking her eligibility. Lucia knew her father had already been talked into a corner. Lucia had to agree. Pushing it further would only make things worse. As Huo Yao and her deskmate were leaving school, her deskmate laughed. People are so weird these days. Look at what they're wearing. He pointed to a man in a trench coat with only his eyes showing. Huo Yao saw the familiar figure and was speechless. Big money, her deskmate said. Didn't you say your brother was picking you up? Huo Yao awkwardly pointed to the strange man. Her deskmate was stunned. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Huo Yao had to force herself not to scream. My fourth brother is a celebrity. I have to respect his list disguise. She walked up to him. Fourth brother. She then introduced him. This is my deskmate, Meng Ying. Her fourth brother, thinking this must be his little sister's best friend, took off his mask and said politely, Hello. Meng Ying was completely starstruck. She couldn't believe that under the mask was such a handsome face. After they left, Meng Ying couldn't shake the feeling that she had seen the handsome man somewhere before. In the car, her fourth brother kept looking at Huo Yao, wanting to say something but hesitating. His manager had signed him up for a variety show that required him to bring a family member as a partner. Little sis, can you do me a small favor? What? Just then, her eldest brother called and he changed his mind. Never mind, it's nothing. Her eldest brother said he needed to talk to him, so he brought Huo Yao along. What followed was an awkward scene of Huo Yao and her eldest brother sitting in the living room in complete silence. He felt like he didn't know how to face her after their last misunderstanding. Fortunately, her fourth brother came back with water and asked what was up. It's not a big deal. Someone asked me to ask you if you've signed on for a variety show. Her fourth brother immediately knew something was off. His manager had just brought him the contract. How could his big brother know about it so soon? He thought of Lucia. That show requires a family member, he said directly. Lucia is not my biological sister. It wouldn't be appropriate to bring her. Please tell her that. He had no good impression of his adoptive sister. When she found out her biological parents were rich, she had left without a second thought. Now she was trying to act like a loving sister to get something out of it. She was as selfish as ever. Okay, her eldest brother said calmly. This puzzled her fourth brother. That's not right. Usually he would have stood up for Lucia. Why is he being so agreeable today? Huo Yao, who had been sitting there quietly, immediately understood. Her fourth brother excitedly told their big brother that she was sure to get into Tsinghua University, because she was always first in her class. Her big brother felt even more guilty. He remembered how he had thought only Lucia had a chance and had looked down on his real sister. "Well, congratulations then, little sis," he said awkwardly. But Huo Yao was engrossed in her phone and didn't seem to hear him. Her fourth brother had to awkwardly laugh to cover it up. "I have to get back to the office," her big brother said, and turned to leave, feeling a little helpless as he saw she was still on her phone. Her fourth brother took the opportunity to walk him out. "Is there something going on between you and little sis?" he asked. "No, nothing," her big brother said, shaking his head. But he was thinking, I can't blame her. I brought this on myself. When he got back, he asked Huo Yao with a grin, "Little sis, you and big brother?" But Huo Yao just patted his head like he was a child. "Sweetie, some questions are better left unasked. You wouldn't get an answer anyway." He immediately looked like a pouting child. Seeing this, Huo Yao sighed. "But I can help you with something? Like, say, being your partner on a variety show?" Her fourth brother's face lit up. Seeing her goofy, adorable brother, Huo Yao couldn't help but laugh. As soon as she left her fourth brother's apartment, she heard the click of a camera. Sure enough, there was someone lurking in the shadows. The little paparazzo was secretly thrilled. "I got a huge scoop. Celebrity Huo Xiang on a secret date with his girlfriend. I'm going to be rich." Suddenly, a voice came from above. "What are you looking at?" The paparazzo jumped, and when he looked up, he was so scared he could barely speak. "Nothing. You were taking pictures just now, weren't you?" Huo Yao said menacingly. The paparazzo, having regained his composure, tried to deny it, but in a flash, his camera was gone. Huo Yao looked at the pictures and sure enough found photos of herself and her fourth brother. "With skills like these, you dare to be a paparazzo?" She then started to lecture him. "Being a paparazzo is risky business. You should think twice before getting into it." But the paparazzo got angry and tried to fight her. In that critical moment, Huo Yao finally remembered the concept of self-defense. A minute later, the poor paparazzo was a mess. Just then, her fourth brother drove up. Huo Yao casually walked over to him. "What were you doing over there?" he asked. "I saw a little puppy, so I went to comfort it," she said calmly, tossing the memory card out of the car. As soon as she walked in, she heard her second brother's frantic roar. "What time do you call this? Do you two have any idea how late it is?" His tone completely baffled them. They subconsciously looked at the clock. It was only 8 p.m. He then rubbed his shoulder and said with a pained expression, "My shoulder is so sore from waiting for you two." He was shamelessly hinting for his little sister to give him a massage. Her clueless fourth brother, seeing his second brother's act, quickly tried to curry favor. "Second brother, let me give you a massage. I just learned a new technique from a professional." But her second brother just held up his hand and refused. He had no use for his annoying little brother. He then hinted again, "I heard from Mom that little sis gives great massages." Huo Yao finally got the message. "You want me to give you a massage, right?" she said gently. Her second brother nodded enthusiastically. Seeing how happy he was, she decided to humor him. With a loud crack, he let out a blood-curdling scream. Huo Yao was already on her way upstairs. "Second brother, call me next time it hurts." Her second brother, his face pale with pain, collapsed onto the sofa. "It doesn't hurt anymore," he said weakly. "It will never hurt again." After his sister went upstairs, her fourth brother asked, "What's going on with Huo Yao and big brother?" "Just try to keep them apart as much as possible for now," her second brother explained. "Little sis just got back. We don't want her to be disappointed in this family." Hearing this, her fourth brother knew what to do. In this family, their second brother was the most perceptive one. Back in her room, Huo Yao got busy again. She took out an exquisite box and organized the pills inside, as well as a special set of silver needles. "I can't believe I have to use these again. I hope I can find a good opportunity tomorrow." Even if the hospital had declared him a vegetable, this was a bit much, right? With time running out, Huo Yao got to work. Her desk mate had already met his visiting relatives and would be back in the room any minute. But she couldn't worry about that. "I hope I'm not too late." After a few needles, the comatose father's finger twitched. Just then, her desk mate and his relatives reached the door. As he was telling them that his friend was visiting his father, he pushed the door open. Huo Yao was standing right there. She told her desk mate she had an emergency and had to leave. She then shoved a bottle of pills into his hand and whispered in his ear, "Your dad is awake. Give him one of these now and then one every other day." Before her deskmate could react, she was gone. At that moment, her older cousin shouted excitedly, "Come quick! Uncle is awake!" Hoya went home and acted as if nothing had happened, just sitting in the living room playing on her phone. Her fourth brother tried to start a conversation, asking if she liked music. "It's okay," she replied. He then put on a song, turned the volume all the way up, and kept asking if she liked it. Hoyao's ears were about to burst. It's great. You can turn it off now," she said, and went back to her phone. Her fourth brother was annoyed. Who is she talking to? She's so engrossed. What's so important that she's ignoring her big brother? Seeing this, Huoyao showed him her phone. "An old doctor is asking me about a prescription." What's so hard to understand? Her fourth brother looked at it and was even more speechless. "What is all this? I don't understand any of it." Meanwhile, the doctors had given her deskmate's father a full examination. All of his vitals were improving. It was a medical miracle. Mengying thought back to Huoyao's expression as she was leaving. It was as if she knew his father would wake up. Could it have something to do with her? But how is that possible? He sent Huoyao a message to tell her the good news. She replied immediately, "The medicine I gave you is from an old doctor. It's harmless, don't worry." Mengying was shocked. How did she know I was going to ask that? He couldn't dwell on it. He just had to thank her. Just then, his cousin appeared in the hallway with headphones on. "You can go home," Mengying said, taking them off for her. "You don't have to stay with me." But his cousin insisted on staying and wanted to share her idol's music with him. When Mengying saw the celebrity on her cousin's phone, it jogged her memory. She quickly sent a message to Huoyao. "Big money. Is your brother a singer?" "Yeah, but he's probably just an amateur. I haven't really asked." Mengying demanded a picture of him. Huoyao didn't have one, but since her fourth brother was right there, she said, "Fourth brother, let me take a picture of you." He was in the middle of eating a piece of cake and was about to strike a handsome pose, but she had already taken the picture. "It's for my deskmate, the one you met before. He's insisting on a picture of you," she explained. Her fourth brother was mortified. "My carefully crafted cool guy image is ruined because of this picture." But when Mengying saw the picture, she was ecstatic. "My friend, I think you have a misunderstanding of what an amateur singer is. Your brother is the top celebrity, Huoxiang." Huoyao was a little stunned. She searched for Huoxiang online, and sure enough, it was her fourth brother. No wonder I couldn't find anything about him before. He's using a stage name. Her fourth brother, seeing her looking up news about him, was sure she was finally realizing how amazing he was and would be impressed. He was getting more and more excited, just waiting for her to praise him. But then she just said, "You should put on your shoes, the floor is cold." He was crushed once again. Why is this never how I imagine it? The day of the National Academic Competition Finals had finally arrived. The school took it very seriously and had arranged for them to fly to the capital for the competition. After they landed, the teacher warned the students. "The school has arranged for your food and lodging. I want you all on your best behavior for the next 2 days. No one is to cause any trouble." Not far from their bus, 2 intimidating men appeared, with a row of black cars parked behind them. Everything about them screamed, "Trouble." A sharp-eyed male student noticed that the license plates on the cars were all gold and had consecutive numbers. This was no ordinary group. Just because he had stared for a few seconds too long, he had caught the attention of a bald man, which sent a shiver down his spine. Just as he was panicking, the teacher patted him on the head. "You talk too much, get on the bus." The lead teacher then bowed to the group. "Sorry to have disturbed you." He couldn't believe he had run into that family here. The whole scene was terrifying. He wondered which important figure was in the car. Huoyao suddenly stopped, a strange feeling of familiarity washing over her. But then she remembered she was in the capital and dismissed it as a mistake, getting on the bus. The person in the car was, of course, Min Yu. On the bus, the male students were still talking about the incident. That group was so scary. They were like something out of the mafia. When they looked at me, my heart skipped a beat. Huoyao, however, was calmly looking at her phone. This puzzled Yi Lianfan, who was sitting next to her. He considered himself to be worldly, but even he had felt a sense of fear when faced with that group. Why did she seem so unfazed by it all? Just then, Huoyao received a message from Min Yu, asking if she wanted to explore the capital with him that night. She declined, saying the principal would break her legs. Minyu couldn't help but laugh at her playful reply. His driver was baffled. The master who never laughs is laughing at his phone? What's going on? The assistant turned around. Yuge, since Miss Huo is in the capital, should we invite her to dinner? The driver was even more baffled. He dares to call the master Yuge? He's got some nerve. He then ventured to ask, who is Miss Huo? She's the girl who gave the master the calming incense, the assistant explained, a high school senior. He then added, Miss Huo is super smart. She gets perfect scores on all her exams. The driver's mind was blown. What is going on today? Why are so many strange things happening? Seeing his confused expression, the assistant kindly reminded him, you should focus on driving. The next morning, Huoyao contacted her fan at the research institute in Beijing. She told him she was in the capital and asked him to find a few special medicinal herbs for her. Just then, Yilian Fan appeared next to her. You're up early too. Are you nervous about today's competition? He looked closer. Oh my God, look at those dark circles. You look like a panda. You must have been too nervous to sleep. I'm just used to waking up early, Huoyao replied with a half smile. After a long list of reminders from the principal, the students were finally allowed into the Tsinghua University exam hall. The principal specifically told Huoyao to do her best. It seemed all of his hopes were pinned on her. The grade-level director asked the principal, what are the chances of Huoyao getting first place this time? The principal closed his eyes and said confidently, 100%. But Yilian Fan was only 2 points behind her last time, the director protested. Getting a perfect score and only getting a perfect score are two different things, the principal said as he walked away. She's the person who nearly crashed the education systems of several major universities. As long as she's around, Yilian Fan will always be number 2. Huoyao was enjoying herself in the exam hall. She loved the feeling of being able to focus on her studies. With a ring of the bell, the national academic competition began. High-stakes moment. In the exam hall, Huoyao's every move caught the proctor's attention. While others were still struggling with the multiple-choice questions, she was already working on the long answer problems. Her speed was astonishing. The teacher was stunned. But then he saw the name on her paper, Huoyao, and it all made sense. She was the genius who only ever got perfect scores. I just hope she can keep it up, he thought. We might have a chance at the international competition this year. A little later, Huoyao finally put down her seemingly heavy pen, let out a sigh, and rolled her shoulders. This is the national finals, after all, she remarked to herself. The question writers finally decided to make it a little challenging. She then stood up and turned in her paper. This, of course, annoyed the student next to her. Who is this freak? Does she have to be so good? It wasn't just the students. Even the lead teachers from other schools were in disbelief. How can she turn in her paper early in such an important exam? This year's questions are so hard, one teacher commented. Turning it in an hour early? She must have given up. Not necessarily, another teacher said with a smile. What if she finished everything? They both chuckled. It was clear they were being sarcastic. But then, the lead teacher from number 1 high calmly said, Yes, I also believe our Huoyao finished all the questions. Hearing that it was the Huoyao from number 1 high, the two teachers' faces burned with embarrassment. Soon after, the principal got a message. Huoyao turned in her paper early. She said she had to go. Tell her to be safe, the principal said. But after hanging up, it hit him. What? She had to go, so she turned it in early? He then said, feigning panic. Old you, we have a problem. Our Huoyao turned in her paper early again. This old you was from the capital's Education and Culture Association Research Institute. He had piqued old you's curiosity. This year's questions were carefully prepared by our institute. She finished them in 2 hours? The principal sighed. Yes, she's been a bright kid since she was little. Old you was not impressed. Oh, stop showing off. After the finals tomorrow, bring her to my institute. Meanwhile, a handsome and capable young man was waiting excitedly for someone. I'm finally going to meet the master in person. I'm so excited. I wonder what she looks like to match her incredible talent for pharmaceuticals. Just then, a young girl's voice came from behind him. Lei Xiao? A delicate hand tapped him on the shoulder. When he turned around, he saw a pretty girl dressed like a high school student. Are you... You want to play? He asked in disbelief. His world was about to crumble. The master was a young, beautiful girl. How could the world be so unfair? Is it really that surprising? Huo Yao asked. The worldly Lei Xiao quickly composed himself. It was more than surprising, it was a shock. Huo Yao then invited him to dinner to thank him for helping her get so many medicinal herbs in the capital. After getting in the car, she told him she needed to borrow his lab after dinner. He readily agreed. It wasn't often you got to see a master at work. By the way, she asked casually, how is your research on the RO virus going? His face fell immediately. We've made almost no progress in a year. I was hoping you could analyze our experimental data for us when you're done. I've never worked with such precise experiments before, she said, declining. I don't think I'd be much help. Lei Xiao thought she was just being modest. No way, what about before? Oh, that was all just guesswork, she said quickly. I didn't have any practical proof. Lei Xiao was hit with another blow. Just guesswork? And she was able to solve a problem our institute had been stuck on for years? And she was only 15 or 16 at the time? Is this the difference between a genius and a mere mortal? Soon they arrived at the lab. Huo Yao was very pleased with the equipment. What she said next almost made Lei Xiao faint again. She didn't just want to borrow the lab, she wanted to borrow him. His mind was buzzing. He thought about all the poisonous herbs she had prepared. If anything went wrong, he wouldn't even know how he died. This is outrageous. She had never used modern, purified medicinal agents to make pills before, but that didn't stop her. She just took one sniff and knew the purity of the agent. Her fan was hoping for some praise. So what do you think? Is my purification precision high? It's barely adequate, Huo Yao said, unimpressed. It wasn't as pure as what she could get with traditional methods, but it was enough to cure her brother's poison. And this method was much faster. His enthusiasm was once again crushed, but he was still in awe of her. She had been able to deduce the exact experimental data just by calculation, and after watching him do just a third of the experiment, she was able to do it herself. Even more impressive, it was her first time using the equipment, and she not only completed the experiment successfully, but also did it in less time. She was like an alien. And the worst part was, from the look on her face, she wasn't even satisfied with her own performance. It was too much to think about. The more he thought, the more depressed he got. The comparison was just too painful. After she was done, she thanked him and left. She then went to an old town night market to meet Min Yu. He had never been to a place like this and was clearly uncomfortable. Seeing how out of place he looked, Huo Yao realized she shouldn't have brought him here. She offered to take him to get some food, knowing there was a noodle shop with a good reputation inside. He was reluctant, but he didn't want to say so. Seeing his hesitation, she quickly explained, "The noodle shop is at the very back, it's not crowded there." He then readily agreed. They soon arrived at the noodle shop. "What can I get for you?" the owner asked warmly. "We have everything on the menu." "A large bowl of sayozi noodles, with extra of your secret chili sauce," Huo Yao said directly. She then turned to Min Yu. "What do you want?" "Order whatever you like. My treat." "I'll have the same as you," he said, like a typical boyfriend. "2 large bowls of sayozi noodles," Huo Yao called out to the owner. "One with chili, one without. No cilantro in the one with chili, and extra green onions in the one without, and extra vinegar in the one with no cilantro." The owner looked at her like she was there to cause trouble. "Only my regular customers know about my chili sauce," he said, testing her. "Are you a regular?" "An elder in my family mentioned it," she explained. "Ah, you're one of us!" the owner exclaimed, his mood brightening. "Coming right up. Just a moment." "Don't worry, this place is clean," Huo Yao told Min Yu. He just mumbled in agreement. The owner, as he turned away, thought, "Strange, this whole scene feels so familiar, but this is the first time I've seen this young girl." Min Yu also noticed that she seemed to know her way around. Before they knew it, they had explored the entire night market and were waiting by the side of the road for their driver. Min Yu finally couldn't hold back his curiosity. "How did you find this old town night market by yourself?" "I saw online that it had a lot of good food," she said casually. She was more focused on her social media. She had posted a picture of her food, but her brothers had all responded with the same message: "Be safe and don't go out alone." She had to reply to each of them. "Drama king second brother, sweet and naive fourth brother, I know, you big babies." Just then her expression sharpened. A sense of danger washed over her, followed by the deafening roar of a motorcycle. She looked towards the sound and saw a black motorcycle speeding towards them. Min-yu immediately sensed something was wrong. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her into his arms. A man in black on a motorcycle sped past where she had just been standing. If it hadn't been for Min-yu's quick action, the consequences would have been dire. The rookie assassin fell off his bike. He didn't even bother to pick it up, he just scrambled to his feet and ran away. With skills like these, he had no business trying to be an assassin. Min-yu was more worried about Huoyao being hurt, so he didn't give chase. Fortunately, she was fine. Seeing the man's panicked escape, she suspected there was more to the story. But before she could think about it, she rushed to check on Min-yu's leg. He had been hit when he was protecting her, and it had been a hard impact. His lower leg was definitely injured. His assistant arrived just in time, blaming himself for not having stayed with them. He anxiously asked if his master was hurt. "I'm fine," Min-yu said calmly, and insisted on taking Huoyao back to her hotel first. But his assistant wouldn't have it. He insisted Min-yu go get checked out and said he would arrange for someone else to take her. Before Min-yu could say anything, he was already on the phone, calling for another car. "You really should get a full checkup," Huoyao added. "That was a hard hit. Even if there's no visible injury, you could have a bone fracture." Hearing her say that, Min-yu finally agreed, but only on the condition that he wait for the new car to arrive. "If there are any problems, let me know," Huoyao told him. In the car on the way back, Huoyao received a message from the dean. He told her she had gotten first place with another perfect score and had successfully advanced to the final round. But she didn't feel anything. She was thinking about how, when Min-yu had pulled her away, the motorcycle had clearly changed direction. If she wasn't mistaken, the person it was really trying to hit was Min-yu. It had to be said the capital was a dangerous place.